Chapter 5:14. Do you all understand? Lu Yuan asked as he looked at everyone. We understand. Everyone replied in unison. It's good that you understand. Chiu received the order. Lu Yuan's hand flashed, and a Dragon King's token appeared in his hand. He passed it to Wang Chiu. All right, elder brother, Wang Chiu said softly as she received the Dragon King's token from Lu Yuan's hand. Go, Chiu. Lu Yuan said softly as he smiled at Wang Chiu. Okay. Wang Chiu nodded. She took 2 steps forward with the Dragon King's token in hand and raised it high in the air. On top of the silver-white token, a golden dragon appeared. It looked around with a majestic and awe-inspiring aura. Greetings, holy lady. When Wang Chiu raised the Dragon King's token high in the air, a deafening voice rang out and lingered in the hall for a long time. Time flowed like water, and 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 months, Lu Yuan had been busy running between the Dragon King Hall and the Heavenly Star Academy. He was mainly crafting soul tools and pills in the Dragon King Hall. According to Ning Rongrong's information, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect had a huge demand for soul tools. However, Lu Yuan was the only one who knew how to craft soul tools. Therefore, Lu Yuan had no choice but to squeeze out some time to craft soul tools. Lu Yuan's soul tools were already at the peak of Class 6. After 3 months of crafting soul tools, he seemed to have made some improvement. He was already at the bottleneck of a Class 7 soul engineer. As long as he continued his research, Lu Yuan would become a Class 7 soul engineer in no time. A Class 7 soul engineer could be considered a high-level soul engineer. When he became a Class 7 soul engineer, Lu Yuan could craft Class 7 soul tools. These Class 7 soul tools were much stronger than Class 6 soul tools. When the time came, he could craft more than 10 Class 7 soul cannons and place them at the various entrances of the Dragon King Hall. The defensive capabilities of the Dragon King Hall would increase exponentially. A Class 7 soul cannon could severely injure a soul sage if it was hit. Its strength was extraordinary. Even a soul Douluo would be killed if more than 10 Class 7 soul cannons were fired at the same time. It couldn't be helped. The firepower was just that fierce. Other than crafting soul tools, he also concocted pills. Lu Yuan's alchemy skills had also improved along with the increase in his mental strength and the number of times he refined medicine. The most convincing proof was that he had finally concocted a top-grade pill for the first time. Moreover, it was a top-grade spirit ascension pill. A normal soul ascension pill only had a small chance of helping a soul ancestor break through to the next level, but a soul ascension pill of the highest quality had a 100% chance of helping a soul ancestor break through. In addition, Lu Yuan also refined 2 new pills, one of which was the longevity pill. A single longevity pill could increase one's lifespan by 5 years. On the Douluo continent, the lifespan of a soul master was less than 100 years. Even a titled Douluo could only live for a few hundred years before they died. A pill that could increase one's lifespan by 5 years was a treasure to those who were nearing the end of their lifespan. Furthermore, it wasn't just one pill that could be consumed. As long as the conditions permitted, a person could consume 5 longevity pills in their lifetime. 5 pills. Even if the effects of each pill would weaken a little, 5 pills added together could still increase one's lifespan by 17 or 18 years. If a titled Douluo who was about to die obtained 5 longevity pills, he could at least protect his family for another 17 or 18 years. What kind of concept was that? Lu Yuan was sure that once the longevity pills were released, there would definitely be a mad scramble for them. Especially those sects and clans that had titled Douluo or soul Douluo who were nearing the end of their lifespan. They would definitely pay a huge price to purchase these longevity pills. In this way, wouldn't his Dragon King Hall make a fortune again? Other than the longevity pills, there was another type of pill called the ageless pill. That's right, it was the ageless pill. If the longevity pills were extremely attractive to those who were nearing the end of their lifespan, then the ageless pill was an irresistible temptation to all women. A single ageless pill could guarantee eternal youth. Even if you were 70 or 80 years old, you would still be as beautiful as a young girl. To women, this was very attractive. Never underestimate the extent to which women cared about their appearance. That kind of craziness was definitely beyond your imagination. It could be expected that once the ageless pill hit the market, it would definitely become popular in the entire continent. With the longevity pills and the ageless pill, these two killing weapons, in addition to other pills and soul tools, would the Dragon King Hall be short of money in the future? That was impossible. Even if they were short of money, they wouldn't be short of money. The Dragon King Hall would never be short of money again. Every day, as long as they sold pills, they could sit at home and count the money. Just thinking about this kind of life made them feel a little happy. If Lu Yuan was in the Dragon King Hall to refine soul tools and pills, then in the Heavenly Star Academy, it was naturally to train the team, and at the same time to cultivate the tacit understanding between them. Lu Yuan didn't participate in the training of the team's tacit understanding. He only needed one person. Either the whole team went or he went alone. As for cooperation, it was completely unnecessary. Zhu Zhuqing would also participate in the training sometimes. The content of the training was very simple, 7 against 1. There were 7 of them against Lu Yuan. It was impossible to be an armchair strategist. If they wanted to cultivate tacit understanding, then they needed to fight. Only through fighting could they discover the problems between the team members, and then correct them. Lu Yuan's strength naturally didn't need to be mentioned. 1 against 7, he could beat them to death every time. Even with the addition of Zhu Zhuqing, a Soul King, and Ning Rongrong's 9 treasures glazed pagoda, they were still beaten to the ground by Lu Yuan every time. After 3 months of training, the Heavenly Star team's strength could be said to have increased a lot, and the coordination between them was also very good. With their current combination of 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders, even if they didn't count Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, they should be able to advance to the finals. However, it would be very difficult to ensure that they didn't lose a single match. Therefore, in the competition, when it was time for Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing to fight, they still had to fight. After all, Lu Yuan wanted a complete victory, and losing a single match was unforgivable. Since 3 months had passed, the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament was close at hand. According to Lu Yuan's information, the preliminaries were about to start. In the Heavenly Star Academy. On the training ground, a battle seemed to have just ended. Looking at the people who were beaten down by him again, Lu Yuan's eyes were calm. Today's training will end here. Everyone, get up. I have some things to tell everyone. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, the members of the team climbed up and looked at each other, then looked at him with doubtful eyes. Chapter 5:15. I just received news that the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament will be held in 3 days at the original Heaven Do Great Soul Arena. Lu Yuan's voice rang out as he looked at everyone. The Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament is finally coming? I can't wait any longer. Just as Lu Yuan's voice fell, Ling Wei's voice rang out. Indeed, it's finally coming. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Fu Qinsheng immediately agreed after hearing Ling Wei's words. He wasn't the only one. Even Wang Qiuer, Ning Rongrong, and Duguyan's eyes shone with a strange light when they heard the news. They were all eager to give it a try. After 3 months of training, their abilities had increased significantly, and they all wanted to perform well in the tournament. It seems like everyone is full of confidence. Lu Yuan smiled as he looked at everyone's expressions. Not bad, this kind of confidence was something an outstanding team needed. Of course. With your 3 months of training, we have already undergone a transformation. In this competition, our academy will definitely win everyone's attention. Hearing that, Douluo softly said with a trace of determination in her voice. They weren't weak now. Other than Lu Yuan, who was rank 58, their vice-captain, Zhu Zhuqing, was already rank 52. Among the remaining people, Wang Qiu'er was rank 47, Douluo was rank 47, and Ning Rongrong, who had consumed the Spirit Ascension pill, had risen from rank 42 to rank 45. Fu Qinsheng and Ling Wei, who were in the same situation as Ning Rongrong, had also reached rank 45 and 44. Just the 5 of them, Jingling and Jiang Zhu, made up 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders. This strength was enough to dominate the Heaven Do competition zone. Even if Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing didn't compete, they could still do well. Douluo couldn't help but sigh as she looked at the current team. The current Heavenly Star battle team was much stronger than the original Heaven Do battle team. Everyone in the team was monstrous. Her talent could only be considered below average in the team. Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing, Wang Qiu'er, and Ning Rongrong were all more talented than her. She sighed in her heart. Joining the Heavenly Star Academy was indeed the right choice. Listening to Douluo's words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and declined to comment. Their current team composition was definitely a luxurious lineup, and it would not be a problem for them to gain the attention of everyone present. I'm very happy to see that everyone is so confident. Next, I'm going to explain some of the rules of this competition. Please listen carefully. Looking at the crowd, Lu Yuan said softly, "This competition is divided into 3 formats: the preliminaries, the promotion round, and the finals. The qualifiers will be conducted in the form of team battles. The competition will adopt a single-cycle competition system. In the end, the few teams with the highest number of points in each division will enter the promotion competition. After the advancement stage, the competition will change. If the preliminaries are a test of a team's strength, then the advancement stage is a stage for an individual to display their strength. In the advancement stage, each side will send out 7 members to compete. The 2 sides will fight one by one. The winner will remain on the stage, and the loser will continue to send out students to challenge the other side. The competition will only end when all the students from one side are defeated. The top 15 academies in the advancement stage will have the opportunity to enter the finals. The top few academies in the advancement stage will have a bye in the first round of the finals. This is the benefit of being at the top of the rankings. There are a total of 33 teams participating in the finals. The 2 empires each have 15 academies. In addition to the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, the Star Luo Imperial Academy, and the Martial Soul Palace Academy, the 3 academies that are guaranteed to enter the finals. The competition format for the finals is the same as the qualifiers. The top 2 teams will have a bye at the end of each round. After reaching the top 6, the top 3 teams will compete against each other to determine the top 3 teams. At the end of the competition, the top 3 teams will compete in a combination of individual elimination and team competition. The team that wins the individual elimination will directly enter the finals. The remaining 2 teams will compete in a team competition to determine the final team that will enter the finals. Finally, the team that won the individual elimination round will compete in a team competition. The winner of this battle will be the champion of this year's Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. These are the rules of this year's Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. Do you guys understand? Lu Yuan asked softly. I don't really understand. It feels a little complicated. Ling Wei scratched his head and said, It doesn't matter if you don't understand. We just have to remember to keep winning. Fu Qinsheng said softly. Qinsheng is right. No matter what the rules are, we just have to keep winning. We can't lose a single round. This is my only request for you guys. Do you guys have confidence? Lu Yuan asked as he looked at everyone. Captain, will you take action? After hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone looked at each other before turning to look at Lu Yuan. Faced with Fu Qinsheng's question, Lu Yuan nodded and said, of course. If we meet a strong team, I'll definitely take action. However, in the preliminaries, I'll leave the weaker teams to you guys. Unless there are special circumstances, Zhu Qing and I won't take action. You guys will have to rely on yourselves. This is also a chance for you guys to perform. After all, once I take action, the battle will basically be over. You guys won't be able to enjoy the thrill of the competition. I don't think you guys are willing to just watch me kill a little kid with a punch. We're not willing. Hearing this, everyone shook their heads. If Lu Yuan really had to take action in every match, then they really wouldn't have any room to perform. No one knew better than them how strong their captain was. Okay, then it's settled. If there aren't special circumstances in the preliminaries, Zhu Qing and I won't take action. Qinxing, you're a spirit control system soul master and you're relatively steady. When the time comes, the entire team will be under your command. I don't have any other requests. Just give me a beautiful victory. Lu Yuan said softly. Yes, Captain. Fu Qinxing nodded and said. Then let's stop here. The competition is in 3 days, so the team's training will end here. In these 3 days, everyone should have a good rest. Try to get a good start in 3 days and let them see the strength of our Heavenly Star Academy. Yes. Their voices rang out in unison. And not bad. That's it. There's nothing else to say. Everyone can go back. Lu Yuan smiled and waved his hand. Chapter 5:16. 3 days later. Morning. Heavenly Star Academy, Lu Yuan's small wooden house. Zhu Qing, is this your custom-made uniform? Lu Yuan asked softly as he looked at his new robe in the mirror. Yes, what do you think? Zhu Qing took 2 steps forward and gently tidied up Lu Yuan's collar. It's okay, it looks okay. It has some of the characteristics of our Heavenly Star Academy. Lu Yuan said softly as he looked at the robe on his body. The robe was completely white with silver laces. On the robe and cuffs, there were silver star-shaped marks, exuding a bright silver light. On the chest, there were 2 beautiful silver words written in ancient characters, Heavenly Star. The whole robe looked quite comfortable. There were not many patterns, but it had a kind of atmosphere. In Lu Yuan's eyes, it was not bad. It was quite in line with his aesthetic. After all, he had always liked to wear this kind of simple style clothes. He didn't like things that were too fancy. It's good that you think it's okay. Zhu Qing sighed softly and said, this was Rong's suggestion. She said that you might like this kind of simple style clothes. Rong's suggestion? Hearing this, Lu Yuan was slightly silent. Lu Yuan, Rong is a good girl. Zhu Qing said softly. Well, I know, but her character. Lu Yuan sighed, with a trace of melancholy in his tone. Her character has changed a lot. I feel that in this year, Rong has changed a lot. If you like it, just accept it. Don't worry about us. I have discussed it with Chihiro Snow and the others. This matter is up to you. Zhu Qing snuggled in Lu Yuan's arms, and her soft voice came out. It's been hard on you, always making you compromise for me. Lu Yuan gently rubbed Zhu Qing's long hair, sighed slightly, and said, but about Rong, let nature take its course. I don't have the idea of looking for another one now. This matter will wait until later. All right, you can decide for yourself, Zhu Qing said softly. Gently holding Zhu Qing's waist, Lu Yuan suddenly thought of something. Zhu Qing, you girls seem to be wearing long pants under your team uniform? Yeah, they said that it's more convenient to wear trousers in battle. Skirts are more of a hindrance and what? Lu Yuan asked. And it's easy to leak. Zhu Qing said softly, her face blushing slightly. Ah, that's true. Hearing this, Lu Yuan chuckled and said softly. As the sun rose, the renovated Heaven Do Great Soul Arena welcomed a large crowd of spectators. Countless spectators were already looking forward to the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, which was held once every 5 years. There were many young men and women in the audience. As for why this was the case, there was naturally a reason. The participants of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament were all below the age of 25. Furthermore, those who were able to participate in the tournament were all outstanding young Soul Masters. Such Soul Masters would undoubtedly become the targets of adoration in the hearts of countless young men and women. There were even many young girls who had the idea of marrying a powerful Soul Master. If an ordinary girl were to marry a powerful Soul Master, it would be a matter of both fame and fortune. Of course, this possibility wasn't very high. Truly powerful Soul Masters might not be interested in ordinary girls, even if they were good-looking. This was because they were truly after a female Soul Master of the same status as them. After all, Soul Masters were the most respected profession on the Douluo continent. Why were there so many male Soul Masters who were single? Wasn't it because there were very few female Soul Masters, and they didn't fancy ordinary girls? Therefore, they became uncles after enduring for a long time. Then, they became old men, and finally, they became old bachelors. This kind of thing wasn't rare. Of course, there were exceptions to everything. Perhaps some young girl was lucky enough to be fancied by a young Soul Master. This was also possible. After so many years of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, such things had happened before. Therefore, it wasn't unreasonable for these young girls to have such thoughts. After all, it was a fact. It was already 7:15 in the morning. Normally, it would be 7:30 in the morning. At this time, the entire Heaven Do Great Soul Arena was filled with people. There were roughly tens of thousands of people. It wasn't hard to imagine how popular it was. For this tournament, the Heaven Do Imperial family had even mobilized the Heaven Do Imperial Army to maintain order. Even so, there were still some disturbances. Lu Yuan and the rest had already arrived. Lu Yuan's team of 9 was very eye-catching among the other teams. It couldn't be helped. Lu Yuan, Wang Qir Zhu Qing, and the rest of the girls were too good-looking. People couldn't help but notice them. Furthermore, Lu Yuan and the rest had a very unique aura. When the 9 of them stood together, the formless aura that permeated the air attracted many people's attention. Not far from Lu Yuan's team of 9 were Long Xiaoyao, Ma Xiaotao, De Gubo, and the rest. Apart from Yan Xiaozhe, who stayed behind to look after the place, 3 titled Douluo from the Dragon King Hall had arrived. Of course, there was also the demonic infernal dragon queen, Ziji. She had also arrived with Lu Yuan's team. This lineup was truly a little frightening to say the least. Apart from them, the Heavenly Star Academy had also sent representatives. They were the Fellows and Lu Erlong. The 2 of them were in front of Lu Yuan and the rest, and they were doing their registration. The so-called registration was actually the registration of the members of each academy's battle team. Once the registration was completed, there would not be any more additions or substitutions to the battle team in the future. The Heavenly Star battle team naturally consisted of Lu Yuan and the other 7 members, as well as the 2 substitutes, Jing Ling and Jiang Zhu. It didn't take long for the Fellows and Ziji to complete their registration, and they returned to Lu Yuan and the rest. The Fellows said softly, "Now that we've registered, we can enter the arena. The participating academies have a special resting area provided by the main arena. Let's go there first. After the opening ceremony is over, the tournament will begin. I think many students should be there by now." "Alright, let's go in then." Lu Yuan nodded at everyone around him. He looked at the Fellows and said, "Old man, lead the way." "Alright, follow me," the Fellows said. After that, he turned around and led the way. Lu Erlong followed behind him. Lu Yuan and the rest looked at each other before following the Fellows to the resting area. Chapter 5:17. The resting area was very large, with over 1,000 seats. It was divided into different areas for the various academies to rest and wait. Just as the Fellows had said, many academies had already arrived. When Lu Yuan's group entered, There were already quite a few people here, and there were even many familiar faces. The resting area was much quieter than the outside. Firstly, there were fewer people here, and secondly, the quality of soul masters was always higher than commoners. Although there were occasional sounds of discussion coming from the resting area, they weren't very loud. At the very least, they didn't disturb others. Lu Yuan's group swaggered in without any concealment. Coupled with the indescribable pressure coming from their bodies, they instantly attracted the attention of many academies. This was especially true for the leader, Lu Yuan. His figure was tall and straight, and his face was handsome. His immortal-like temperament made him stand out from the crowd. Many female soul masters glanced at him, causing Zhu Zhuqing's gaze to become much colder. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly when he felt the slightly cold gaze of the jealous little girl beside him. He didn't do it on purpose, but his charm was simply too great. There was nothing he could do about it. Sai, who told him to be so handsome at his age. He was actually a little vexed about his own handsomeness. Just as Lu Yuan's group entered, a few familiar faces also cast their gazes towards Lu Yuan's group. In the northwest corner of the resting area, there was a group of young soul masters wearing the Blazing Flames uniform gathered. At this moment, a young girl with fiery red hair was looking in the direction of Lu Yuan's group. Her eyes were slightly focused, and there was a trace of doubt on her charming face. "Huo Wu, what are you looking at?" Huo Wushuang couldn't help but ask softly when she saw her sister staring unblinkingly in the direction of the resting area. Huo Wu's gaze was still fixed as she spoke softly. "Big brother, look at that team wearing silver-white star-shaped uniforms. Doesn't the man leading them look like the person we've seen before?" "Which person? We've seen many people before." Huo Wushuang was somewhat puzzled. "It's that Lu Yuan who single-handedly trampled the Heaven Do Imperial Academy under his feet 4 years ago. Don't you think it's him?" Fire Dance asked. "Really? Let me have a look." Huo Wushuang opened her eyes wide and carefully sized up Lu Yuan. She smacked her lips and said, "You really do look a bit like him. You're still as handsome as ever. Other than him, I don't believe there's another person as handsome as him in this world." "But why do you think a man like him is so handsome?" Huo Wushuang said sourly. "What's wrong, big brother? Could it be that you're jealous?" Huo Wu asked with a smile. "TSK, I'm jealous of him? I, Huo Wushuang, am not bad-looking, okay? Furthermore, I'm very strong, and my style is very unyielding. Who knows how many young ladies are secretly throwing flirtatious glances at me? I'll be jealous of him." Hearing Huo Wu's words, Huo Wushuang immediately retorted fiercely. "You're strong?" Fire Dance curled her lips in disdain. "Can you beat him?" "Of course I'll fight. But who can compete with this pervert?" Huo Wushuang couldn't help but shudder when he thought about how Lu Yuan beat up a soul elder like a chicken and kicked away a soul ancestor 4 years ago. That scene had left a deep impression on him. The Grand Heaven Do Imperial Academy had 3 soul ancestors and 4 soul elders at the same time, but they were actually beaten to the ground by a rank 29 person. That scene had left a huge impact on him. He even heard that the original captain of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team, Yu Tianheng, was beaten to the point of having his mind blown. It was said that he was like a pile of mud and was completely crippled. He, Huo Wushuang, was ashamed of his inferiority to such a person. Furthermore, 4 years had passed since then. Only the heavens knew how strong that guy had become. He was only a soul ancestor now, but that guy had beaten up a soul ancestor back then. He'd be damned if he could beat him. If you can't beat him, then why are you saying so much? Fire Dance rolled her eyes at Huo Wushuang and stood up. Fire Dance, where are you going? Huo Wushuang asked. I'm going to meet this Lu Yuan. Old brother, aren't you curious about how strong he's become after 4 years? Fire Dance's indifferent voice sounded. Well, I'm actually quite curious about that. Huo Wushuang muttered to himself. If you're curious, then let's go. He's one of the strongest opponents we'll meet in the tournament. We can learn about him in advance and make preparations. Fire Dance said. Amen, little sister, you're right. Let's go. Old brother will accompany you. Huo Wushwang nodded and said to Fire Dance. The two of them then walked towards Lu Yuan and the others. On the other side, a similar situation was occurring. In the northeast corner of the resting area, a group of youthful and beautiful girls wearing blue dresses were gathered here. Big sister, do you think that person looks like a male god? Among the group of beautiful girls, a beautiful girl with long ice blue hair and an oval face asked another girl who looked similar to her and also had long ice blue hair. Male god? What male god? Shui Bing looked at her younger sister helplessly. What was this girl up to again? My male god, Lu Yuan. He's the one who beat up the Heaven Do Imperial Academy 4 years ago. Don't you think that person looks like him? Shui Yuer pointed at Lu Yuan, who was standing at the front of the Heavenly Star team. Hearing that, Shui Bing looked in the direction that Shui Yuer was pointing at. She squinted her eyes and sized him up for a while. Then, she said, he does look like him. Furthermore, that aura gives me a very familiar feeling. It should be him. I didn't think that he would participate in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament and even bring his own team. Looks like we'll have another strong opponent in this tournament. Shui Bing sighed softly as she thought about the terrifying fighting strength that Lu Yuan had displayed back then. Back then, he was able to defeat 3 soul ancestors and 4 soul elders by himself. Now, even if his team wasn't included, just him alone was enough to pose a threat to their team. It looked like they had to be extremely careful in this tournament. Shui Yuer naturally didn't know what her sister was thinking. She looked at Lu Yuan, who was standing at the entrance, with a pair of sparkling ice blue eyes. Big sister, why don't we go meet the male god and make friends? This. Shui Bing was a little hesitant. She was a little shy. She was fine with girls, but she always felt a little embarrassed to take the initiative to interact with boys. Let's go, big sister. Come with me. Shui Yuer pulled Shui Bing-er's hand and shook it slightly as she acted coquettishly. All right, let's go. I really don't know what to do with you. Looking at her sister acting coquettishly, Shui Bing-er sighed softly. Her tone was full of helplessness. Chapter 518. Lu Yuan, it feels like someone is sizing us up. Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but whisper when she sensed the gazes coming from the northeast and northwest. It's fine, just some old acquaintances. Lu Yuan chuckled. An old acquaintance? Zhu Zhuqing's face carried a trace of doubt. Yeah, we met 4 years ago when I challenged the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Rongrong was there too. Isn't that right, Rongrong? Lu Yuan glanced at Ning Rongrong. Yeah, that was the first time I saw you. You were so cool back then. You beat the crap out of the entire Heaven Do Imperial Academy with just a few kicks and punches. Ning Rongrong spoke in detail as she looked at Lu Yuan with sparkling eyes. It was then that she became curious about Lu Yuan and gradually fell in love with Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile when he heard this. He reached out and gently rubbed Ning Rongrong's head. Ning Rongrong's eyes narrowed and a sweet smile appeared on her face. Lu Yuan retracted his hand and casually glanced around. Coincidentally, there was an empty space on the left in front of them. Let's go to the white area in front to rest for a while. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan said softly. Yes. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded lightly. The group walked towards the white area. There weren't many people around this area and it was very empty. This was also the reason why Lu Yuan chose this area. It wasn't far and Lu Yuan's group quickly arrived. Everyone, find a place to sit down. The opening ceremony should be starting soon. After the opening ceremony, it will be the first round of the qualifiers. Everyone, do your best. We have to win the first round beautifully, Lu Yuan said softly as he looked at the crowd. Yes, Captain. Everyone replied in unison. Seeing this, Lu Yuan nodded slightly. Suddenly, Zhu Zhuqing, who was beside him, poked him. What's wrong, Zhuqing? Lu Yuan tilted his head and looked at her with a trace of confusion. Someone's coming, Zhu Zhuqing whispered. Oh! Lu Yuan replied with an oh and turned around slightly. There were actually two people walking towards them from both sides. On the left was a man and a woman. They were dressed in the red uniform of the flames. The man had a strong build and his arms were full of thick muscles. Although he was not very handsome, he had a heroic aura. The woman had a head of long fiery red hair, a slim figure and a curvy figure. Her skin was fair and she had a pretty face. Overall, she was a rare beauty. However, there was a hint of unruliness between her brows, which indicated that this woman's temper was a little fiery. Their soul power ranks weren't low. From Lu Yuan's observation, both of them had soul power ranks above rank 42. With such soul power and the fact that they were only 17 or 18 years old, their identities were obvious. They should be the siblings Huwu and Huwushuang from Blazing Fire Academy. The two people on the right were both girls. Furthermore, they were both very beautiful girls. One of them was tall and slim, and had a cold expression. She was an older sister-type beauty, while the other was a bit smaller. However, her smile was very sweet, and she gave off a lively and cute aura. Without a doubt, she was a lowly-type beauty. In addition, the two of them had the same icy blue hair, icy blue eyes, and wore the same icy blue dress. When they walked together, there was an indescribable charm. One couldn't help but want to take another look at them. Lu Yuan could clearly guess their identities from the way they dressed. They were the sisters from Skywater Academy. At this moment, the two parties were walking towards Lu Yuan. It was obvious that they were here to find Lu Yuan. In a short while, the four of them arrived in front of Lu Yuan and the others. I didn't expect you to come too, Shui Bing. Huwu looked at Shui Bing, who was not far from her, with a trace of fighting spirit in her eyes. If you, Huwu, can come, why can't I? Just as Huwu looked at Shui Bing with fighting spirit, Shui Bing looked back at her without showing any signs of weakness. The two of them had known each other for a long time. Furthermore, one of them was ice and the other was fire. They were both proud daughters of heaven, and their soul power ranks were similar. Therefore, it was inevitable for them to compete with each other. In Huowu's eyes, Shui Bing was an opponent that she had to defeat. In Shui Bing's eyes, she was not willing to lose to Huowu. Therefore, the two of them had been competing with each other. They wanted to suppress each other. Clearly, both of them were here to find Lu Yuan. In the end, before they could even speak, the two of them had already clashed. Ahem, may I know why the four of you are here? Seeing Huowu and Shui Bing staring at each other intensely, Lu Yuan couldn't help but speak up and interrupt their competition. After all, this was their encampment. What was the point of the two of them competing here? When Lu Yuan's voice rang out, Huowu and Shui Bing immediately retracted their gazes. After all, they were here to find Lu Yuan, not to compete with each other. Hello, you must be Lu Yuan. I am Huowushuang from the Blazing Academy. This is my younger sister, Huowu. We met 4 years ago at the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. I don't know if you still remember us. Huowushuang's candid voice rang out as she looked at Lu Yuan. I have a slight impression of you. I remember that the two of you were watching the battle below with some of the higher-ups from the Blazing Academy. Hearing that, Lu Yuan spoke softly. Haha, Brother Lu's battle back then really shocked me. I've never seen someone as fierce as Brother Lu. You single-handedly defeated the entire Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Your battle strength is truly astonishing. Huowushuang laughed. You flatter me. It was only a small battle. It's not that I'm strong, it's just that the Heaven Do Imperial Academy is too weak. Each and every one of their students is filled with the rotten habits of nobility. Their will to battle is weak. How can people like that have any battle strength? They're all in the realm, but their strength can't keep up. Even if Brother Wushuang was the one fighting back then, I'm sure you'd be able to defeat 1 or 2 soul ancestors. Lu Yuan spoke indifferently. AI, don't flatter me. I was only a rank 33 soul exalt back then. Even if the soul ancestors of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy were in the realm, I still wouldn't be able to defeat them. I know my limits. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Huo Wushuang hurriedly waved his hand. Hearing that, Lu Yuan chuckled. His impression of Huo Wushuang had improved quite a bit. At the very least, this person was quite honest. He could be considered a person I could make friends with. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Alright, Brother Lu, this is my younger sister, Huo Wu. Huo Wushuang looked at Huo Wu and introduced her to Lu Yuan. Hello. Lu Yuan nodded his head at Huo Wu. Chapter 519. Hello. Huo Wu's eyes were fixated on Lu Yuan. Her eyes were blazing with passion, the kind of passion that came from seeing a powerhouse. She, Huo Wu, had always been a person who liked to fight. She had a stronger desire to win compared to male soul masters. And it was very clear that Lu Yuan's strength had ignited her fighting spirit. You're very strong. How about we have a fight if there's a chance? Huo Wu said softly as she stared into Lu Yuan's eyes. Hearing this, Lu Yuan looked at the strong fighting spirit in Huo Wu's eyes. He smiled and asked softly, Are you sure? It wasn't that he looked down on Huo Wu, but the gap between them was really too big. Not to mention 1 Huo Wu, even 7 Huo Wus wouldn't be his opponent. Moreover, among his peers, this was the first time Lu Yuan had met someone who wanted to fight him. This Huo Wu was a bit interesting. If it was someone else, after seeing his fight, they would have already lost their fighting spirit. For example, Huo Wushuang in front of him. Lu Yuan was sure that he didn't have the courage to face him, because the powerful fighting strength he had displayed at that time had already left a deep impression in his heart. Therefore, as long as he saw him, he would think of that battle and feel powerless in his heart. Naturally, he wouldn't have any desire to fight. In this point, Huo Wushuang's brother was far inferior to Huo Wu. I'm sure. Although I know that I may not be your opponent, I still want to fight with you. Hearing this, Huo Wu looked at Lu Yuan with a burning gaze, her eyes full of determination. Tisk, it's really the first time I've seen a girl who likes to fight like you. After carefully sizing up Huo Wu for a while, Lu Yuan faintly smiled and said, But since you have this idea, I'll satisfy you. Originally, I didn't intend to go on stage in this qualifier, but now I have changed my mind. If our Heavenly Star Academy and your Blazing Fire Academy meet, I will go up and fight with you. But if you lose, don't cry, okay? Who would cry? I, Fire Dance, have never cried in my entire life. If you can win against me, that's because of your ability. I won't cry. I'm just afraid that you'll lose miserably when the time comes. Our Blazing Fire Academy isn't just for show. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Fire Dance immediately lost her temper. Wasn't he looking down on her too much? Was she, Fire Dance, certain to lose? Moreover, the qualifiers were a team competition. Even if Lu Yuan was stronger than him, his teammates might not be strong enough. If they fought, it was hard to say who would win. TSK, alright. When the time comes, I'll be waiting to see the true strength of your Blazing Fire Academy, Lu Yuan softly said with a faint smile when he saw Fire Dance's angry appearance. Humph. I'll give you a big surprise when the time comes, Fire Dance snorted and said in a soft voice. The two of them settled the matter with just a few words, causing Huo Wushuang to feel like crying. What did he just hear? Originally, Lu Yuan wasn't prepared to participate in the qualifiers. However, his sister's words forced him out. Although his sister seemed unwilling to admit defeat, as if their Blazing Fire Academy had a high chance of winning, Huo Wushuang knew that if Lu Yuan were to participate, their Blazing Fire Academy would undoubtedly lose. He was already somewhat fearful of Lu Yuan's fighting strength. It wasn't just him, even Feng Xiaotian and the others were the same. They were extremely afraid of Lu Yuan's fighting strength. After all, the scene back then was too terrifying. A Soul Grandmaster had consecutively defeated more than 10 people from the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Furthermore, that included a 1 versus 7 battle where he defeated 3 Soul Ancestors and 4 Soul Elders. Furthermore, that was a battle from 4 years ago. Then, how strong would Lu Yuan be 4 years later? Hu Wuxuang didn't dare to imagine, but he knew that his Blazing Fire Academy definitely couldn't defeat him. After all, their Blazing Fire Academy's current Soul Master composition was only slightly better than that of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. With such strength, they would most likely lose to Lu Yuan. Sister, sister. Since he didn't want to participate in the first place, why did you force him to participate? Hu Wuxuang felt a faint sadness in his heart. This sister of his was truly too strong. Once her competitive spirit was ignited, she didn't care about anything else. It was truly difficult to have such a sister. As he thought about it, Hu Wuxuang couldn't help but sigh softly. On the side, Shui Bing-er watched the two of them come to an agreement with just a few words. She couldn't help but shake her head. This woman, Hu Wu, really didn't have any confidence in her own strength. In any case, she definitely didn't want to meet Lu Yuan. Even if their team had a soul fusion skill, she still didn't dare to guarantee that she could defeat Lu Yuan. She had seen the battle back then, and she had always been shocked by Lu Yuan's strength. Since he didn't want to participate in the first place, then just let him stay. Wouldn't it be better to have an easy fight? Why did he have to find trouble for himself? She couldn't figure out how Wu Wu's brain worked. Her brain seemed to be a little different from ordinary people. Lu Yuan smiled lightly. His gaze shifted to the Shui Bing-er sisters on the right and asked, "You two should be Miss Shui Bing-er and Shui Yura from Skywater Academy, right?" "Prince Charming, how do you know my name?" Just as Shui Bing-er was about to reply, Shui Yura beat her to it. Her face was suffused with a sweet smile, and her pair of ice-blue eyes stared straight at Lu Yuan's face, unwilling to move away for a moment. Slightly meeting Shui Yuer's gaze, Lu Yuan instantly understood her attribute. This was a young girl who was obsessed with looks, and a little infatuated. Looking at Shui Yuer's infatuated appearance, Shui Bing-er couldn't help but rub her head with a helpless expression. "Sister, sister, this is your first official meeting with him. Is it really appropriate to stare at his face like this? Although he is indeed very handsome, you don't have to look at him like this. Look at you, your saliva is about to drip out. Don't you feel ashamed?" "Ahem." Shui Bing-er coughed and patted Shui Yuer beside her, reminding her to pay attention. At the same time, she turned to Lu Yuan with a gentle smile on her cold face. "Hello, I am Shui Bing-er. This is my sister, Shui Yuer." "Hello, I am Lu Yuan," Lu Yuan said, sizing up Shui Bing-er. Even Lu Yuan had to admit that Shui Bing-er was indeed a great beauty. She had a slim figure, slender legs, and a good-looking oval face. Coupled with her ice-blue hair and cold temperament, her beauty was not inferior to Ning Rongrong beside Lu Yuan. She was even slightly better than Hu Wu. Chapter 520. Of course, although Shui Bing-er was very beautiful, Lu Yuan was also used to seeing beautiful women. After a glance, he withdrew his gaze. "May I know what the two of you are here for? Could it be that you want to fight with me like Miss Fire Dance?" Looking at Shui Bing-er in front of him, Lu Yuan smiled slightly. "No, no." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Bing-er hurriedly waved her hand and said, "You and I are just here to make friends. Right, you Saying that, Shui Bing-er patted Shui Yuer who was beside her again. "Yes, Prince Charming, we are here to make friends with you." Shui Yuer blinked her ice-blue eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. Her white and rosy face was like a red apple, bright and lovely. "Prince Charming, you are so handsome." Shui Yuer looked straight at Lu Yuan's face with a love-struck look. "Hee, you are also very cute." Hearing this, Lu Yuan laughed softly. Is that so? Prince Charming, do you really think I am cute? Being praised by Lu Yuan, Shui Yuer's face quickly surged with joy and quickly asked. Seeing Shui Yuer's surprised look, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly and said softly, Yes, you are indeed very cute. Yeah. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Yuer immediately exclaimed happily, her face blooming with a brilliant smile. She grabbed Shui Bing-er's hand and said with a tone of unconcealable joy, Sister, did you hear that? Prince Charming praised me for being cute. I heard. Shui Bing-er helplessly shook her head, but you, can't you be more reserved? This sister of mine really doesn't have the slightest bit of a girl's reserve. Love-struck fool. Seeing Shui Yuer's appearance, Fire Dance couldn't help but curl her lips. Who are you calling a love-struck fool? You tomboy. Hearing Fire Dance call her a love-struck fool, Shui Yuer immediately mocked back. Because of Shui Bing-er, she didn't have a good impression of Fire Dance. You dare to call me a tomboy? Being called a tomboy by Shui Yuer, Wu only felt anger rising in her heart. She glared at Shui Yuer with her fiery red eyes and said, Say that again if you have the ability. I'll say it again. You unruly, stubborn, and hot-tempered tomboy. Look at yourself. You don't look like a woman at all. Look at my sister. She's gentle and intelligent with a slim figure. That's what a woman is. A woman should act like a woman. But I don't think you'll understand that in your lifetime. After all, you are a tomboy. Shui Yuer sized up Fire Dance from head to toe. Her red lips parted slightly, and her tone carried a trace of disdain. Creak. Hearing Shui Yuer's words, Fire Dance clenched her fists so tightly that her knuckles cracked. She glared at Shui Yuer as if she was about to spit fire. You love-struck fool, do you want to fight with me? TSK, you only know how to fight all day, and you still say you're not a tomboy. Shui Yuer did not panic in the slightest in the face of Wu's fiery gaze. Instead, she had a calm expression on her face. Her mouth was slightly curled, and there was a trace of disdain on the corners of her mouth. You! After being ridiculed by Shui Yuer, Fire Dance was furious. Clenching her fists, she took a step forward as if she wanted to pounce on Shui Yuer. Hey, little sister, calm down, calm down. Seeing that Fire Dance really wanted to hit Shui Yuer, Wu Shuang hurriedly pulled her back. This was Lu Yuan's territory. It wasn't appropriate for them to fight here. Yuer, stop talking. Shui Yuer hurriedly called out to Shui Yuer. At the same time, her figure moved slightly, and she stood in front of Shui Yuer, facing Fire Dance. Fire Dance's temper was irritable. She was afraid that Fire Dance would suddenly pounce on Shui Yuer and hurt her. After all, Shui Yuer's strength was inferior to Fire Dance's by a large margin. Seeing the tense atmosphere, Lu Yuan could not help but shake his head slightly. What kind of people were these? They couldn't even speak a few words, and they wanted to fight. Could this be the legendary, fire and water are incompatible? Both of you, please calm down and don't fight. Can you give me some face? Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and stood between the two parties as he said faintly. Okay, Prince Charming. I'll naturally do as you say. Then, I'll be magnanimous and won't bicker with this tomboy. Looking at Lu Yuan, Shui Yuer giggled. Creak. Hearing Shui Yuer call her a tomboy again, Fire Dance couldn't help but clench her fists again. Little sister, calm down. Seeing Fire Dance's appearance, Wu Shuang hurriedly comforted her. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan also turned his gaze to Fire Dance. Under Lu Yuan's gaze, Fire Dance clenched her fists, her chest heaving up and down as if she were suppressing her emotions. After a moment, Fire Dance took a deep breath, temporarily suppressing the anger in her heart. She looked at Lu Yuan and said, Okay, I'll give you face today and not bicker with this love-struck fool. However, don't forget our agreement. Of course. When the time comes, I'll naturally go up and fight with your Blazing Fire Academy. Lu Yuan chuckled. Okay, remember your words. Fire Dance said indifferently, glancing at Shui Yu and Shui Bing with an unfriendly gaze. She then turned to He Wuxuang and said, "Big brother, let's go back." Okay. Hearing this, He Wuxuang inwardly breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that his little sister would fight with Shui Yu and Shui Bing here. Now that she was willing to go back, it was a good thing. Then, Brother Lu, we'll take our leave first. He Wuxuang cupped his hands at Lu Yuan. Brother Wuxuang, take care. Lu Yuan said. He Wuxuang nodded and left with Fire Dance. We should also go. Seeing the siblings leave, Shui Bing tilted her head slightly and said to Shui Yu beside her. "Ah, big sister, we've only been here for a while. Why don't we stay a little longer?" Shui Yu softly said. There was a trace of reluctance in her voice. "Okay, Yu be good. The opening ceremony will begin in a while. We have to go back and prepare. I'll bring you back next time, okay?" Shui Bing softly said as she patted Shui Yu's head. "Okay then." Shui Yu pouted and looked at Lu Yuan with reluctance. "Prince Charming, we'll be leaving first. We'll come and play with you next time." "Okay, take care." Lu Yuan faintly smiled and said, "Goodbye." Shui Bing softly said. She then pulled the somewhat reluctant Shui Yu and went straight to the northeast corner of the Skywater Academy. Looking at the two's departing figures, Lu Yuan withdrew his gaze and walked lightly. He casually found a seat and sat down. Next should be the opening ceremony. Chapter 521. Brother, when will the opening ceremony begin? Wang Qiu'er was lying on Lu Yuan's back in the resting area. She hugged Lu Yuan's neck tightly and looked around with her pinkish blue eyes. Her red lips parted slightly, and her crisp voice entered Lu Yuan's ears. "What's wrong, little Qiu'er? Are you impatient?" Lu Yuan smiled and said softly when he heard Wang Qiu'er's words. "Yes, it's so boring waiting here. We've waited for more than half an hour, and the opening ceremony hasn't started yet. This competition is progressing so slowly." Wang Qiu'er pouted and said softly, "It can't be helped. There are too many people. We have to wait until all the academies have arrived and everything has been arranged properly. That old man Snowy Night Emperor and the leaders of some forces have also arrived before the opening ceremony can begin. However, it's about time. It's already past 8. The opening ceremony should be starting soon." Lu Yuan smiled and said, "Is that so? Brother, you said the same thing half an hour ago. You said that the opening ceremony would begin soon, but we're still waiting here." Lu Yuan had just finished speaking when Wang Qiu'er's voice sounded. Cough. Lu Yuan coughed when he heard Wang Qiu'er's words. He rubbed his nose and felt a little awkward. He had originally thought that the opening ceremony would begin at 8. However, he didn't expect them to be so slow. It was almost 8:30, and they still hadn't started. Sigh, I overestimated their efficiency. In the end, I was a little embarrassed by my dear sister's words. Lu Yuan sighed in his heart. However, the resting area was almost full. Lu Yuan was sure that the opening ceremony was about to begin. Lu Yuan glanced around. At the entrance to the resting area, staff members came in to arrange for the teams to enter. "All right, Qiu'er. Look, we're about to enter." Lu Yuan smiled as he pointed at the staff members. "It's true. It's finally about to begin." Wang Qiu'er's smile blossomed when she saw this scene. She was elated. This girl. Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh as he shook his head when he sensed Wang Qiu'er's excitement. She was still like a kid. Even though she had lived for thousands of years, she was still very innocent. When Zhu Zhuqing, Hulina, and the others were 12 or 13 years old, they were already quite sensible. But then again, being sensible was good, but being pure was also commendable. Lu Yuan was very fond of Wang Qiu'er's purity and innocence. He loved this cute little sister of his very much. Lu Yuan patted Wang Qiu'er's hand and raised his voice as he said to everyone around him, Alright, everyone, get ready. We'll be entering the arena soon. Yes, Captain. As soon as Lu Yuan's voice fell, a uniform voice sounded out of nowhere. Little Chiu-er, come down. It's time to enter the arena. Lu Yuan smiled and whispered to Wang Chiu-er, who was lying on top of him. Oh, alright then. Wang Chiu-er replied. She reluctantly climbed up from Lu Yuan's back and took 2 steps forward to stand beside Lu Yuan. Even though this little golden centipede had transformed into a human, it still liked to stick to Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan rubbed Wang Chiu-er's head. His eyes flashed as he looked at the staff members who were walking towards them. Hello, is this the Heavenly Star Academy's team? A staff member came in front of everyone and asked softly. Yes. Lu Yuan said. It's time for your academy to enter the arena. Please follow me. The staff member said. Thank you. Lu Yuan nodded at the staff member and turned around slightly. Everyone, follow me. Yes, Captain. Everyone replied in unison. The group of people followed the staff member's lead and stepped into the entrance tunnel. Wow, there are so many spectators. Ning Rongrong exclaimed in surprise as she looked at the countless cheering spectators in the spacious arena. There should be tens of thousands of people here. This Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament is indeed popular. Lu Yuan said as he casually glanced at the crowd. Yes. Ning Rongrong nodded gently. Her beautiful eyes scanned the area. Suddenly, her gaze froze. Lu Yuan, look, my father is here too. He's in the VIP area. Holding Lu Yuan's hand, Ning Rongrong pointed to a remodeled VIP area at the back of the central arena. She exclaimed in surprise. Lu Yuan glanced at the people in the VIP area and took in all the people in the VIP area. He was familiar with Ning Fengji, the sect leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, the Platinum Bishop of the Martial Soul Temple, Sakas, the fat pig-like Prince Shuiyi, the white-haired old man with a crown on his head, Emperor Shuiyi, and his share, who was disguised as the Empire's crown prince, Shueqinghe. Even Douluo, who had been following him all this while, had snuck into the VIP area. Lu Yuan, do you see him? Ning Rongrong asked as she patted Lu Yuan's arm. Yes, I see him. Not only do I see your father, but I also see Elder Douluo. This fellow runs pretty fast. He slipped into the VIP area when I wasn't paying attention. Lu Yuan glanced at Douluo behind him and laughed softly. Douluo smiled when she saw Lu Yuan's gaze. Her lips parted slightly as she said, Grandfather said that the various powers have representatives in the VIP area. The Dragon King Hall should have one too. The Dragon Emperor doesn't like to show his face, so Grandfather can only go up himself. Yes, Elder Douluo is very thoughtful. Lu Yuan nodded his head when he heard Douluo's explanation. Indeed, Yan Xiaozhe and Douluo were the only ones in charge of the Dragon King Hall. Long Xiaoyao and Ma Xiaotao basically didn't care about anything. They were more like bodyguards. While Long Xiaoyao was in charge of the Law Enforcement Hall, he didn't interfere much in the matters of the Law Enforcement Hall. The Feng, Huo, Lei, and Yan captains were the ones who discussed and acted. Only very important matters would be handled by Long Xiaoyao. Therefore, Douluo was the only one who could send a representative to the VIP area, given that Yan Xiaozhe was staying in the Dragon King Palace to guard the residence. It had to be said that Douluo was quite clear about his position. Lu Yuan was very proud of his decision to recruit Douluo back then. He didn't make a wrong decision. Douluo was very good at doing things. Douluo couldn't help but smile when she heard Lu Yuan praise Douluo for his thoughtfulness. It wasn't easy to be praised by the hall master. Over the past 3 months they had been scolded badly. After all, their cooperation at the start of their training was terrible. They had been scolded a lot because of that. Even she had been scolded more than once. She was used to it. Today, she was a little surprised to hear Lu Yuan praise them. Chapter 522. Everyone continued to move forward. Soon, they stepped out of the entrance tunnel and walked into the plaza. The plaza was very large, with a diameter of more than 150 meters. It looked very spacious. In the center of the plaza was a rostrum. Behind the rostrum was the VIP area where Ning Fengji and the others were. Below the rostrum, the teams that had entered the plaza had already lined up neatly. Every time a team entered, there would be a special MC to introduce them. Next up is the Heavenly Star Academy. The Heavenly Star Academy was originally called the Blue Tyrant Academy, but changed its name to the Heavenly Star Academy a year ago. The Heavenly Star Academy has a total of 9 contestants. Their captain is called Lu Yuan. Maybe everyone doesn't know the name Lu Yuan, but I'm sure everyone is familiar with the name Huang Long. That's right, this Lu Yuan is Huang Long, the person who won 30 consecutive victories in our Heaven Do Great Soul Arena 4 years ago. He set the record of obtaining a purple gold soul emblem in a month. Huang Long was able to set such a dazzling record 4 years ago. What kind of results will he and his teammates achieve in this year's Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament? I'm looking forward to their performance. Hearing the MC's words, the audience below the stage boiled with excitement. Maybe some people didn't know the name Lu Yuan, but in the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena, Huang Long was definitely very famous. After all, Lu Yuan had a lot of fans in the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena. Although 4 years had passed, those fans still remembered his name. Moreover, there were many new people who knew the name Emperor Dragon. It was not because of anything else, but because the name Huang Long had been engraved on the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena's record tablet. A record of obtaining a purple gold soul emblem from an iron soul emblem in a month. Everyone who came to the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena to watch the tournament had the opportunity to see Huang Long's name and record. As a result, his influence was huge. Because 4 years had passed, Lu Yuan had changed a lot, so many people didn't recognize him. But now that the MC said so, many people instantly reacted. The atmosphere became lively. Huang Long. Huang Long. Emperor Dragon. After hearing that Lu Yuan was the Emperor Dragon, many of the old fans from back then started to shout crazily, because no one knew better than them how dazzling this man's performance back then was. Even now, they still couldn't forget Lu Yuan's wonderful battle back then. This guy is so popular. Below the rostrum, a young man with a mask on his face exclaimed in surprise from a team whose members were all wearing green uniforms. Feng Xiaotian, you can't be jealous, right? As soon as the young man finished speaking, a man in a fiery red uniform not far from him asked with a smile. Looking at his appearance, it was shockingly the Blazing Fire Academy's captain, Huo Shuang, whom Lu Yuan had met not long ago. Who's envious? Isn't it just having more fans? I don't care about these things. I, Feng Xiaotian, am not such a superficial person. Hearing Huo Shuang's words, Feng Xiaotian immediately retorted. If you're envious, then so be it. You actually don't want to admit it. I'm different. I dare to admit that I'm envious of him. It's just a pity that I'm not as strong as him. Hearing this, Huo Shuang chuckled and said, "TSK, it doesn't make sense to a rough man like you." Feng Xiaotian curled his lips and turned his gaze to Huo Wu, who was standing behind Huo Shuang. His eyes suddenly lit up. "Sister Huo Wu, long time no see. You've become more beautiful." "Is that so?" Huo Wu glanced at Feng Xiaotian indifferently, without the slightest change in her expression. Of course, when I saw Sister Huo Wu, I thought that a fairy had descended from the heavens. "You're so beautiful that it made me a little dazzled," Feng Xiaotian said with a hint of flattery in his tone. Hearing this, Huo Wu faintly replied. Her face didn't reveal any happy expression because of Feng Xiaotian's praise. "I heard that Sister Huo Wu and that Lu Yuan have made a battle agreement?" Feng Xiaotian didn't care about Huo Wu's indifferent expression at all. Instead, he asked with a chuckle. "How did you know?" Huo Wu asked indifferently. I naturally have my own way of doing this. Feng Xiaotian laughed mischievously and said. Then, who do you think will win the battle between me and Lu Yuan? Huo Wu turned her gaze to Feng Xiaotian with a trace of inquiry in her eyes. Of course, Sister Huo Wu will win. With the strength of your Blazing Fire Academy, this Lu Yuan will undoubtedly lose. Seeing Huo Wu's gaze turn towards him, Feng Xiaotian immediately smiled and flattered her. Is that so? But even I don't have as much confidence as you. I think that the possibility of losing is higher, Huo Wu said indifferently after hearing Feng Xiaotian's words. Not long ago, when she was eager to win, she indeed thought that her chances of winning were very high. However, now that she calmed down and thought about it, she wasn't so sure anymore. After all, Lu Yuan's strength back then was obvious to all. Of course, even so, she, Huo Wu, wouldn't be afraid. Hearing this, Feng Xiaotian suddenly became sluggish. He didn't know what to say. Did he flatter the wrong person? Looking at Feng Xiaotian's appearance, Huo Wuxuang suddenly shook his head. This guy's feelings for his sister aren't shallow. It's a pity that his sister doesn't like this. It's extremely difficult for a bootlicker to fawn on the goddess. In any case, he didn't think highly of Feng Xiaotian. Huo Wuxuang's gaze turned towards Lu Yuan, who was in the center of the square. He couldn't help but sigh softly in his heart. A real man should be like this. In the square, Lu Yuan and the others were still moving forward, facing the fiery eyes of the spectators from all directions and listening to their crazy shouts. Lu Yuan still had a calm look on his face. There wasn't the slightest change in his expression. It was just like when he was in the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena. Lu Yuan, you're so popular. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was shining like a star, Ning Rongrong's eyes were filled with unconcealable admiration. This man was really too dazzling. Her little heart was beating non-stop. How could he be so outstanding? Hearing the admiration in Ning Rongrong's voice, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He had seen such a scene more than once. He was almost used to it. However, it should be the first time for Ning Rongrong and the others, especially Wang Qiu'er, who had never seen such a scene before. Her little face was flushed, and her face was filled with excitement. She looked at Lu Yuan with deep admiration. Brother is so amazing, Wang Qiu'er thought to herself. Chapter 523. Under the gazes of the countless spectators, Lu Yuan and the others walked down from the platform. What they needed to do was to line up properly and listen to the old man, the Snowy Night Emperor, say some unimportant nonsense. After that, they would have to go through a series of messy events. Finally, the old man, Sakas, would draw the teams for the competition and decide their opponents for the preliminaries. Only after all these matters were completed could the qualifiers officially begin. Lu Yuan and the others were very fast. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the platform. After experiencing the cheers of the countless spectators, the arrival of Lu Yuan and the others immediately attracted the attention of the numerous teams that had already gathered here. Practically every single one of them had a grave expression on their faces as they looked at them. The Botany Academy, Blazing Academy, Thunder Academy, Divine Wind Academy, Skywater Academy, and the other academies had already entered the arena and were lining up properly. The moment Lu Yuan entered, all of their gazes were focused on Lu Yuan. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's eyes narrowed. Among the numerous gazes, there was a gaze filled with resentment that instantly attracted Lu Yuan's attention. Glancing around, Lu Yuan instantly caught the owner of that resentful gaze. Thunder Academy's Yu Tianxin? No wonder. Seeing that it was Yu Tianxin looking at him with that resentful gaze, Lu Yuan instantly understood. After all, back in the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, not only had he suppressed Yu Tianheng to the ground like a dead dog, he had also humiliated the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect. He had even ridiculed Yu Tianxin himself. It was normal for Yu Tianxin to harbor resentment in his heart. However, trash like Yu Tianxin wasn't worthy of his attention. He was nothing more than an ant. Lu Yuan lightly glanced at Yu Tianxin, then retracted his gaze. He decisively ignored Yu Tianxin's resentful gaze. Damn it! Seeing that Lu Yuan had actually ignored him, Yu Tianxin fiercely clenched his fists, the flames of anger rising in his heart. This guy was still as repulsive as before. Lu Yuan, this time, I will definitely defeat you. Yu Tianxin's knuckles cracked as he clenched his fist. Back then, he wasn't a match for Lu Yuan. However, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. Moreover, this qualifier was a team competition. He was confident that he could defeat Lu Yuan. At that time, he would trample him to the ground and ruthlessly humiliate him to avenge the past. Yu Tianxin swore in her heart. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Yu Tianxin was thinking. Even if he knew, he wouldn't take it to heart. Yu Tianxin, a mere level 44, wanted to challenge him? If he went all out, Lu Yuan could blow him up with a single punch. This kind of trash was not worthy of his attention. If they really met, Wang Qiu and the others could just play around with them. He believed that Wang Qiu's golden dragon would give Yu Tianxin a pleasant surprise. When the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus met the gold dragon, the result would be very touching. Facing the gazes of the many teams, Lu Yuan continued to walk forward. He looked around slightly, looking for a suitable place to set up camp. Prince Charming, look here. Just as Lu Yuan was looking for a place, Shui Yu'er was waving at them from the direction of the Skywater Academy. There was an empty place next to the Skywater Academy. It was just right for them to set up camp. Nodding at Shui Yu'er, Lu Yuan led the team in the direction of the Skywater Academy. Soon, Lu Yuan and the others walked into the place and lined up. 9 people lined up in a row. Lu Yuan naturally stood at the front. Zhu Zhuqing was behind him. Behind Zhu Zhuqing was Wang Qiu, followed by Duguyan, Ning Rongrong and the others. Lu Yuan and the others were positioned between the Skywater Academy and the Godwind Academy. Because Lu Yuan was at the front, his left side was Feng Xiaotian and his right side was Shui Yu'er. Shui Yu'er was behind Shui Yu'er. At this moment, she was staring at him with her ice-blue eyes. Prince Charming, we meet again. Shui Yu'er giggled. N. Hearing this, Lu Yuan gently nodded. A trace of a smile appeared on his face. This girl Shui Yu'er was very cute. Lu Yuan had a good impression of her. Of course, it was absolutely not because she called Lu Yuan Prince Charming. Absolutely not. Prince Charming, I didn't expect your popularity to be so high. The cheers of the audience outside the arena just now shocked me. Shui Yu'er blinked her ice-blue eyes and said with a charming face, "Oh, it's okay. Your popularity is also very high. You see, the audience outside is staring at you." Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. The number of female students participating in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament was definitely far less than the number of male students. Generally, Soul Master students were basically composed of male students, or mixed in with a few female students. Under such circumstances, the Skywater Academy's team composed entirely of female students was particularly eye-catching. Furthermore, every student in the Skywater Academy's team was a beauty. Shui Yu'er and Shui Yu'er were top-notch beauties. Furthermore, they were all wearing ice-blue dresses. When gathered together like this, it was a particularly eye-catching sight. 9 out of 10 male spectators outside were staring at them. It couldn't be helped. Who asked these beauties to be so pleasing to the eye? Hee. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Yu'er giggled. Her smiling face was like a flower. It was really cute to the extreme. Lu Yuan, don't chat anymore. It's starting. Just as Lu Yuan was chatting with Shui Yu'er, Zhu Zhuqing poked him from behind. Lu Yuan turned around and saw that the old man, Snowy Night Emperor, was on the rostrum. He was about to start his speech. Phew, another bunch of senseless nonsense. Seeing Snowy Night Emperor on the rostrum, Lu Yuan curled his lips and said, "I hope he can speak faster and not waste too much time." What he hated the most was speaking senseless nonsense. For example, an opening speech that could last for half an hour. Just listening to it made people irritated. However, this time, it was out of Lu Yuan's expectations. Snowy Night Emperor's speech was very brief. First, he gave a few words of encouragement. Then, he decisively announced the start of the competition. This made Lu Yuan somewhat surprised. Oh, this Snowy Night Emperor's personality changed? He actually only said a few words? Lu Yuan said somewhat doubtfully. This was not in line with the style of those so-called leaders. Weren't they supposed to be eloquent, spouting empty and meaningless nonsense? Today, Snowy Night Emperor had somewhat refreshed Lu Yuan's view. Just as Lu Yuan was somewhat surprised, Shui Yuer's voice entered his ears. Perhaps Snowy Night Emperor's health is not very good. I heard that these days, Snowy Night Emperor handed over a lot of matters to Crown Prince Xueqinghe. He rarely cares about these matters. This made Lu Yuan's heart tremble. Snowy Night Emperor's health is not good. Chapter 524. The Snowy Night Emperor isn't well? Lu Yuan was shocked when he heard this. Could it be? He turned to Shui Bing'er with a serious look in his eyes. How did you find out about this? It came from the palace. This is no longer a secret to the various powers in Heaven Do Imperial City. Anyone with a bit of information would know about this. The Emperor's health isn't very good. He's already invited many imperial physicians, but there's still no sign of improvement. Over the past few days, many matters have been slowly handed over to the Crown Prince to handle. The Emperor doesn't really care about anything other than attending court occasionally. It's only because today is the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, and it's very important. Otherwise, the Emperor wouldn't have appeared. Shui Bing'er said softly. I see. Lu Yuan said softly when he heard this. Why? You don't know about this? She looked at Lu Yuan strangely when she saw that Lu Yuan seemed to be enlightened. I've been busy over the past few months. I don't have the time to pay attention to these things. That's why I don't know about this, Lu Yuan said. Shui Bing'er nodded when she heard this. Smiling at Shui Bing'er, Lu Yuan turned around, his polychoria eyes flashing with light. The Snowy Night Emperor's health isn't good now. This should be Cher's doing. However, the situation isn't stable yet. Why is Cher so anxious? Or perhaps Xue'er had some other plans in mind. No wonder Chihiro Snow didn't look for him even though he'd been back for more than 3 months. It seemed like he had too many things to do, and couldn't leave for a while. Furthermore, he had to concoct pills, create soul tools, and occasionally train his team. He was also very busy, and didn't have the time to see Chihiro Snow. This meant that the two of them hadn't seen each other even though he'd been back in Heaven Do Imperial City for 3 months. It seems like I have to find time to see Cher. Speaking of which, I'm not a good boyfriend. I haven't contacted my girlfriend for 3 months. I wonder if Cher will resent me when I see her again. And if Xue'er did something to the Snowy Night Emperor, then I'll have to talk to her about it. She didn't even discuss such an important matter with me. If something happens to the Snowy Night Emperor too early, then I won't be able to take control of the Heaven Do Empire. Moreover, if you take too big a step, it's easy to make mistakes. In the original work, wasn't it because you acted too hastily that you made mistakes? I have to remind Xue'er of this. But for now, I should finish today's qualifiers first before thinking about other things, Lu Yuan thought to himself. Thank you for your wonderful speech, Your Majesty. Next, let's welcome the sect leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, Mr. Ningfengji, to give a speech for this competition. Oh, it's Ningfengji's turn. Looking at Ningfengji's impassioned speech on the stage, Lu Yuan let out a soft Since it was Ningfengji now, would it be Dugubo's turn later? After thinking about it, Lu Yuan felt that it was very possible. After all, the Dragon King Hall's reputation wasn't inferior to the Seven Treasures Glazed sects. If the Seven Treasures Glazed sect was the wealthiest among the four upper sects, then the Dragon King Hall was the strongest sect. Even without Ma Xiaotao and Ziji, everyone knew that the Dragon King Hall had Long Xiaoyao, Yan Xiaozhe, Douluo, and the Frenzy Rhino Douluo. Among them, Long Xiaoyao was an ultimate soul Douluo. In terms of deterrence, the Dragon King Hall was much stronger than the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Since Ning Fengji had spoken, then Douluo would definitely be able to join in as well. However, with Douluo, what kind of legitimate speech could he make? Lu Yuan was doubtful. Very soon, Ning Fengji's speech ended. It was short, but it was just right. It was in line with Ning Fengji's character. He was decisive, but watertight. Even though he had a soul tool as his trump card, Lu Yuan wasn't sure if he could completely control this old fox. This person wasn't simple at all. If not for Lu Yuan's foresight and intelligence, and if not for the fact that he had grasped Ning Fengji's lifeline, it would have been very difficult to deal with this old fox. After Ning Fengji finished speaking, the MC's voice rang out again. Sect Master Ning, as the strongest auxiliary type Soul Master, I would like to ask you on behalf of the audience. Among the 28 teams participating in the Heaven Do Cities qualifiers, which team do you think will win? Hearing this, Ning Fengji smiled faintly and said, aside from the Heaven Do first team, which is one of the seeded teams in the finals, I have high hopes for the Heavenly Star Academy. I'm sure everyone has heard of their captain, Huang Long. I believe that not only will they be able to pass the preliminaries, they might even be able to become the champions of the Continental Elite Tournament. Oh! The MC was a little surprised. Sect Master Ning thinks so highly of the Heavenly Star Academy led by Mr. Huang Long? Of course. After all, their captain, Huang Long, is an inconceivable genius that can't be described with common sense. Ning Fengji praised from the bottom of his heart. As he spoke, Ning Fengji looked in Lu Yuan's direction. On the other side, Lu Yuan also looked up, and the two of them looked straight at each other. Seeing this, the corner of Ning Fengji's mouth curled up into a smile, and he nodded at Lu Yuan kindly. Sly old fox, Lu Yuan muttered in his heart. After Ning Fengji's words, it could be said that the Heavenly Star Academy had been pushed to the heart of the struggle. It could be expected that after this, every battle team would pay 120% attention to them. After all, this was the battle team that the Seven Treasures Colored Glaze sect Master Ning favored. Who would dare to belittle them? This invisibly increased the Heavenly Star Academy's resistance. As soon as Ning Fengji's voice fell, the audience's gaze changed. Even Shui Bing-er, who was standing beside him, looked at him with a more dignified gaze. It was obvious that Ning Fengji's words had an effect. What is this old fox planning? What is his goal? Or is he just afraid that we will win too easily, so he wants to increase the difficulty for us? After all, this old fox knows the approximate strength of Zhu Qing and I. Given Rong Rong's personality, after knowing my level, she will definitely run to Ning Fengji to show off her treasures, praising me for being a genius and how good her eyesight is. Lightly touching his chin, Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 525. Could it be that this old fox is feeling a little uncomfortable because Rong Rong has praised me so many times in front of him? Does he feel that his cabbage has been taken by a pig, no, a dragon, so he's taking revenge on society? Yes, that's very likely. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense why this old man would find trouble for us. Lu Yuan made malicious guesses in his heart. After Ning Fengji finished speaking, he leisurely returned to his seat. Next, let's welcome the Poison Douluo from the Dragon King Hall to give a speech. Everyone, please welcome him. After Ning Fengji returned to his seat, the MC's voice sounded again. Immediately, Douluo stood up from the VIP area. He patted his sleeves and tidied up his attire. Then, with his hands behind his back, He slowly walked toward the rostrum with 28 steps. Seeing Douluo like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but twitch his mouth. When did this old man learn to put on airs? Ahem! Douluo patted the microphone and coughed twice. Hello everyone, I'm Douluo. I'm very happy to be able to meet everyone here today. I'm not as eloquent as Sect Master Ning and the others. I can only give everyone encouragement and blessings. I hope that everyone can achieve satisfactory results in this Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. Of course, other than verbal encouragement, there are also practical rewards. The top 5 in the Heaven-Do District's qualifiers will each receive a longevity pill and a youth-retaining pill from the Dragon King Hall's Medicine Hall. Each longevity pill can increase one's lifespan by 5 years. As the name suggests, the youth-retaining pill can preserve one's youth forever. Even if one is 70 or 80 years old, one will still be as beautiful as a young girl. These longevity pills and youth-retaining pills were personally refined by the Dragon King Hall's Hall Master. They are extremely rare and precious. I hope that everyone can work harder and achieve better results with these pills as your rewards. Alright, that's all I have to say. With that, Douluo clapped his hands and turned slightly. He was about to walk toward the VIP area. Poison Douluo, please don't leave yet. I still have 2 questions for you. Seeing that Douluo was about to leave, the MC hurriedly called out to him. Oh? Go ahead and ask. Hearing the MC's voice, Douluo turned around. It's like this. Just now, you said that the longevity pill and ageless pill can really prolong life and preserve eternal youth? The Master of Ceremonies' eyes emitted a trace of strange light, and his tone carried a trace of eagerness. Of course. These longevity elixir and ageless elixir were personally refined by our palace master. Their quality is guaranteed. Every longevity elixir and ageless elixir are of high quality. The efficacy will only be stronger than what I said. You should know that our Dragon King Palace has a good reputation in this aspect. We never cheat anyone, Douluo said with a serious face. As soon as he said that, a fervent look appeared in the eyes of the audience. Even Emperor Shui Yi and Ning Fengji had a look of desire in their eyes. Even they wanted such a pill very much. Especially the Snowy Night Emperor. He felt that his body was getting worse and worse. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to live for more than a few years. If he could buy a few longevity pills and eat them, wouldn't he be able to live for a few more years? Thinking about it, he felt a little happy. Looking at Douluo, the Snowy Night Emperor's eyes glowed. Is this your doing? Zhu Zhuqing, who was standing behind Lu Yuan, couldn't help but poke Lu Yuan's body when she saw Douluo advertising during the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament's speech. No, this should be Elder Douluo's idea. Back then, he told me that he had a way to make the longevity elixir and ageless elixir famous in the shortest time possible. He even took 5 of each type of pill from me. So this was his idea. I have to say that it's a very good idea. In this way, I'm afraid that the entire Heaven-Do City will know about the longevity elixir and ageless elixir in less than a day. Lu Yuan whispered into Zhu Zhuqing's ear. It seems like Elder Douluo is very capable. Zhu Zhuqing was a little surprised. She originally thought that this was Lu Yuan's doing. She didn't expect it to be Douluo's idea. Elder Douluo is indeed very capable. It seems like he's learned a lot in this year of being in charge of the Dragon King Palace. He's fully aroused the enthusiasm and thirst of the audience. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Haha, it seems like after today, the longevity elixir and ageless elixir will sell like crazy. You're going to be rich. Zhu Zhuqing smiled with a rare trace of playfulness on her face. If I'm rich, isn't that the same as you being rich? Lu Yuan smiled. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's face turned slightly red. She looked coquettishly at Lu Yuan, but the smile on her face couldn't be stopped. Ahem, I've asked the first question. Now, I'd like to ask you, Who do you think will win the Heaven Do Competition Zone's 28 teams? After suppressing the shock in his heart, the MC asked Douluo a second question. After all, this was the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament's qualifiers. These matters were important. The Longevity Elixir and Ageless Elixir were just side issues. Which team do you think will win the Heaven Do competition? It has to be the Heavenly Star Academy. Hearing this, Douluo stroked his beard and said decisively, "Can you tell me the reason why you think so highly of the Heavenly Star Academy?" The MC asked again. Reason? There are many reasons. Mainly there are 3 reasons. The first reason is naturally that my granddaughter Douluo is in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. I'm quite optimistic about my granddaughter's strength. Douluo said. Oh, so your granddaughter is in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. May I ask the second reason? The second reason is naturally that the daughter of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sex Sect Master Ning is also in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. With the help of the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda, I naturally have confidence in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. Douluo said indifferently. Whoosh. Hearing this, everyone's gaze fell on Ning Fengji. Facing everyone's gaze, Ning Fengji smiled and said, "That's right, my daughter is indeed in the Heavenly Star Academy's team." Hearing Ning Fengji's words, the audience and many other teams' gazes immediately fell on Lu Yuan and the others. They didn't think that the Heavenly Star Academy's team would actually hide 2 people with such a background. One was the Poison Douluo's granddaughter, and the other was the daughter of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sex Sect Master. To be able to gather these 2 people in a team, the Heavenly Star Academy's background was probably not simple. Furthermore, the team members' backgrounds were so great. Then the team leader called Lu Yuan, the former Emperor Dragon, probably had an even greater background. Chapter 526. Then what's the third reason? Looking at Douluo, the MC's voice sounded. The third reason is naturally because of the Heavenly Star Academy's captain, Lu Yuan, who is also the former Emperor Dragon. To be honest, in this old man's entire life, I have never seen a genius like him. No matter how dazzling the Heaven's pride is, in front of him, they all pale in comparison. This old man dares to say that with him, the champion of this year's Continental Elite Tournament will definitely belong to the Heavenly Star Academy. Douluo said resolutely. Looking at Douluo's face, which was full of confidence that the Heavenly Star Academy would win the championship, many of the spectators couldn't help but click their tongues. Wasn't he too optimistic about the Heavenly Star Academy? In addition, Ning Fengji also said that he was optimistic about the Heavenly Star Academy's team. For a moment, Lu Yuan's team became the strongest enemy in the hearts of all the teams present. A titled Douluo, an elder of the super-powered Dragon King Palace, and the sect master of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect. Who would dare to look down on a team that these 2 people were optimistic about? One could imagine that in the future, every match of Lu Yuan's team would be watched by many academies, just to probe their strength. After probing their strength, they would definitely come up with many strategies to deal with them. In this way, the difficulty of the tournament would increase by a lot. Although, Lu Yuan's heart didn't really care that much. It was just that Douluo praised him like this on the rostrum, which made him feel a little embarrassed, even though Douluo was indeed speaking the truth. "Senior Douluo praising you like this, are you very happy?" Behind him, Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded in Lu Yuan's ear. "What's there to be happy about? Isn't this the truth? What's there to be happy about?" Hearing this, Lu Yuan slightly tilted his head and said indifferently, "Pei, your skin is really thick." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but spit. This man's skin was really thick. Senior Douluo dared to praise him, and he actually dared to accept it. He really wasn't modest at all. "Little kitty, what are you saying?" Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's soft voice, Lu Yuan couldn't help but look at Zhu Zhuqing, sizing up her body, with a trace of a strange smile on the corner of his mouth. Don't mess around, there are so many people here. Seeing Lu Yuan's unbridled gaze, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly crossed her arms in front of her chest and bit her red lips with her pearly white teeth. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's cautious appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but chuckle. This kitten was really interesting. What could he do in public? She actually took it seriously. Looking at the teasing expression on Lu Yuan's face, Zhu Zhuqing immediately reacted and glared at Lu Yuan. It was all this pervert's fault. He had bullied her so much that it had become a conditioned reflex. Hee, Lu Yuan smiled faintly, rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head, and turned back. At this moment, there were many people staring at him. It was all Douluo's fault for not keeping his mouth shut. This time, he had successfully attracted everyone's attention. Originally, there were many academies that didn't recognize him, but with Douluo's words, he had become completely famous, and even the Heavenly Star Academy had become completely famous. This old man really knew how to play. After Douluo finished speaking, he even winked at Lu Yuan. Coupled with that old face, Lu Yuan felt a chill in his heart. If it was a little beauty who winked at him, it would naturally be very charming, but this old man Douluo was still winking at him. Lu Yuan's feelings could only be described with one word. That was, of. It was really a little disgusting. Fortunately, after Douluo said a few words, he returned to the VIP area. When he returned, the originally restless atmosphere in the square temporarily calmed down. Of course, the words he said were still firmly remembered in everyone's hearts. Cough cough. Thank you for His Majesty Poison Douluo's wonderful speech, and also thank the Dragon King Palace for providing the prizes for this competition. Next, we will enter the official part of today's qualifiers. Now we invite the Heaven Do Martial Spirit Temple's Platinum Bishop, Lord Salus, to draw lots for the first round of the qualifiers. After the host's voice sounded, Salus slowly walked to the host's side and began to draw lots. Every time a lot was drawn, the host would announce it. First round of the qualifiers, Oakland Academy vs. Purple Star Academy. Second round of the qualifiers, Thunder Academy vs. Blazing Radiance Academy. Prince Charming, which academy do you want to be drawn against in the first round of the qualifiers? While the list of the qualifiers was being announced, Shui Yu'er looked at Lu Yuan, and her clear voice sounded. I don't care about that, whoever is drawn is fine. Lu Yuan shrugged, looked at Shui Yu'er's cute face and asked, then what about you? Who do you want to be drawn against? We just hope that we don't meet Prince Charming. Of course, it would be better if we don't meet any of the stronger teams. Shui Yu'er giggled. Hearing this, Shui Bing'er, who was standing in front of Shui Yu'er, couldn't help but nod. Of course, they would want to have an easy first round. Then I wish you good luck, Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. He turned around and saw that the drawing of lots was still going on. First round of the qualifiers, Godwind Academy vs. Botany Academy. First round of the qualifiers, Sky Water Academy vs. Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Hey! Your opponent is Heaven Do's second team. Your luck is pretty good. Heaven Do's second team is a group of rookies. Looks like you can get off to a good start. After hearing Sky Water Academy's opponent, Lu Yuan couldn't help but look at the sisters and chuckle. Our luck is indeed good, but I believe that Prince Charming's luck will also be very good. Shui Yu'er giggled and said softly. Then I'll count on your auspicious words. Lu Yuan smiled and looked in the direction of the rostrum again. At this moment, Sokka's happened to draw two more lots. First round of the qualifiers, Sky Star Academy vs. Tsanghui Academy. Taking the lot in Sokka's hand, the MC's voice sounded again. Tsanghui Academy? Hearing the MC's voice, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be startled. Their first opponent was Tsanghui Academy? This was a bit of a coincidence. However, when Lu Yuan saw Sokka's subtly casting a friendly glance at him from the rostrum, Lu Yuan felt much more at ease. Just as he had thought, how could there be such a coincidence? So it was this old man who had deliberately arranged this. However, he didn't dislike this arrangement, because for Tsanghui Academy, Lu Yuan didn't like it either. It seems that their lead teacher, Shern Yen, has an illusion skull. Should I get it? This skull is quite suitable for Rong Rong, and Shern Yen doesn't seem to be a good person. He has hunted many young geniuses. In the original work, he even wanted to hunt Tang San, but was killed instead. Lu Yuan secretly thought in his heart. Chapter 527. So, for that illusory realm soul bone, should I kill Shern Yen, kill him or kill him? Lu Yuan rubbed his chin with his right hand as he muttered to himself. Killing an illusory realm soul sage was too easy for him. A few strikes from the golden dragon's spear would be enough. As for why it was so easy, it was because his polychoria, clear aura divine seed, and clear aura scripture all gave him the ability to be immune to illusions. Shern Yen would not be able to fight back against him at all. However, after thinking about it carefully, Lu Yuan gave up on this idea. Forget it. No matter what, Shern Yen did not provoke me at this time. Killing for a soul bone is not in line with my character. There are many soul bones that are suitable for Rong Rong. I will definitely be able to find them in the future. Furthermore, the 7 treasures glazed sect is so rich. They should be able to take out a few soul bones. Lu Yuan tapped his chin lightly as a thought flashed through his mind. However, my murderous aura has really become heavier over the past year. Is it the result of using the God-slaying spear? Is it because after the God-slaying spear's power was fully displayed, the murderous aura from the God-slaying spear was integrated into my body? Fortunately, although this murderous aura is terrifying, I can completely control it. It seems that having a high spiritual power does have a lot of benefits. If I can refine this murderous aura into my attacks, I will definitely be more powerful in battle. After all, this murderous aura is not something that ordinary people can withstand. It seems that I can start creating the 4th spear technique. Lu Yuan pondered in his heart. Prince Charming, your luck is not bad. This Tsanghui Academy doesn't seem to be very strong. It seems that you will have an easy time in the first round of the qualifiers. Just as Lu Yuan was deep in thought, Shui Yu-er's voice sounded again. As soon as Shui Yu-er's voice sounded, Lu Yuan was immediately awakened from his deep thoughts. Hee, it's all thanks to your auspicious words just now. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he said. He. Hearing this, Shui Yu-er giggled. She smiled until her eyes were squinted like a small crescent moon. She was really cute. Looking at Shui Yu-er's adorable smile, Lu Yuan smiled and shook his head. He turned around slightly and saw that the drawing of lots had already ended. All right. Many thanks to the Platinum Bishop of the Martial Spirit Temple, Lord Salus, for drawing the lots for us. The first match of the qualifiers will be between the Skywater Academy and the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. All other participating academies, please leave the stage. The 2 academies that will be participating in the next round, please prepare yourselves. The tournament will begin in 15 minutes. I didn't expect it to be you guys in the first round. Good luck. Listening to the Master of Ceremonies, Lu Yuan smiled and said to Shuiyu and Shuiyu, Well, thank you. Water Ice's voice sounded. Yes, we will. Prince Charming, remember to watch our wonderful performance later. Shuiyu said with a smile. Oh, you will. Then I wish you all the best. We'll be leaving first. Nodding to Shuiyu and Shuiyu, Lu Yuan said softly as he looked at the teams of the other academies that had already left the stage. Prince Charming, take care. Shuiyu's soft voice rang out. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded slightly, then turned around and nodded to everyone behind him. Let's go. Saying so, he walked towards the resting area from before. This was the place where the other academies rested and waited for their turn to fight. The resting area wasn't very far from the central competition area, but it wasn't very convenient to watch the matches. Looking from afar, people with poor eyesight would be able to see very blurry things. Of course, if one wanted to watch the matches, they could also go to the stands to watch. There was a special area here for the participating teams. It could be said that the tournament organizers' design was quite reasonable in this regard. Sitting down in the original resting area, the Skywater Academy's match was in the first round. As for the other academies, they should be in the back. Today was the opening ceremony, so the competition area was only in the central plaza. But starting tomorrow, the tournament would be divided into 4 areas, namely the A, B, C, and C divisions. This way, the tournament would progress much faster. There were a total of 28 teams in the qualifiers. Every team would have to compete. In other words, Lu Yuan's team would have to fight 27 matches in the qualifiers alone. Every team would have to compete once every day. After 27 matches, the rankings would be based on the number of victories. This was the rule of the qualifiers. Based on the rule of 2 days of rest for every 5 days of competition, the qualifiers alone would take over a month. In addition to the advancement matches and the finals, the entire tournament would probably last for at least 3 months. Perhaps it would take even longer. As expected of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament held once every 5 years, the scale was truly grand. Aren't you going to watch their matches? They're letting you see their spectacular performances. Zhu Zhuqing stood in front of Lu Yuan with her arms crossed as she watched Lu Yuan sit down. Her cold face was expressionless. Lu Yuan shook his head. There's no need. Heaven Do Imperial Academy's second team is just a bunch of noobs. They won't be able to force the Skywater Academy to show their strength. There's nothing to see. It's better for us to prepare for our own matches. You're really not going to watch? The Skywater Academy has so many beauties. They're all wearing the same uniform. They're all cute and youthful. Don't you guys like to see these kinds of things? Zhu Zhuqing whispered as she looked at Lu Yuan with a strange expression. Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. Didn't he just say a few words to Shui Yu? This little kitty is here again. Alright, stop messing around. Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a hint of rebuke in his eyes. Zhu Zhuqing muttered an "oh" when she saw Lu Yuan's expression. However, she felt relaxed inside. Lu Yuan's reaction meant that he really didn't have such intentions. Alright, everyone come over here for a moment. I have something to say, Lu Yuan said softly as he beckoned everyone over. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone gathered around. Wang Qiu'er ran over to Lu Yuan's side and sat down, hugging Lu Yuan's arm. Lu Yuan smiled and patted Wang Qiu'er's hand. Then, he turned his gaze to everyone. Our first opponent for the qualifiers is the Tsanghui Academy. This academy isn't very strong. The only thing worth noting is their 7-person fusion technique. Lu Yuan said faintly. 7 soul fusion skill? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone's eyes were filled with astonishment. The Tsanghui Academy still had such a trump card. Yes, a 7-soul fusion skill. It's a 7-soul fusion skill formed by 7 gemstone martial souls. It's an illusion-type soul skill. It's not very destructive, but it's a little strange. People with weak spiritual power will be easily affected. Chapter 528. This time, Zhu Qing and I will not be fighting. Everything depends on you. If a mere Tsanghui Academy wants us to fight, then training you for the past 3 months is meaningless. You can go home, wash up, and sleep, Lu Yuan said indifferently. And, hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone nodded with a serious expression. If they couldn't even deal with an unknown academy like Tsanghui Academy, then they would really be letting down Lu Yuan's painstaking training. Since their 7-figure fusion technique is an illusion, then people with strong spiritual power should be able to resist it. Fu Qinsheng said. Lu Yuan looked at him approvingly and said, Qinsheng is right. No matter how powerful the seven-figure fusion technique is, it is only a seven-figure fusion technique. It is not a heaven-defying seven-figure martial soul fusion technique. So even if it is quite strange, as long as there is a certain method, it is not difficult to break it. Moreover, you have already prepared in advance. So, either you defeat the Tsanghui Academy before they have the time to use this seven-person fusion technique, or you counterattack and defeat them after falling into the illusion. This battle mainly depends on Qinsheng and Qiu. Qinsheng, you're a spiritual control type soul master, and you're already at rank 45. Your spiritual power is comparable to a soul king's, and Qiu has the golden dragon martial soul. The golden dragon is an extremely powerful martial soul, and it has its own unique senses. Illusions shouldn't have much effect on you. That's why I'm not worried about you losing this battle. What I want is a clean victory. Sect Master Ning and Senior Dugu were very optimistic about us, so we can't afford to lose face here. In this battle, we have to show our elegance. It is best to end the battle within a minute. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Within a minute? Hearing this, Fu Qinsheng and the others looked at each other. It was not difficult for them to win, but to end the battle within a minute was not a simple matter. You guys should discuss this among yourselves. The seven-person fusion technique that I mentioned just now is Tsanghui Academy's deepest trump card, and today is only the first match. They may not use it. But regardless of whether they use it or not, I'm more inclined towards the first combat method I mentioned earlier. Crush them with a thunderous momentum and directly flatten them. Only in this way can we better display our momentum. Qiu Lingwei, one of you has a golden dragon martial soul, while the other has a terraclaw bear martial soul. You must display the strength of your martial souls. If I'm not satisfied with this fight, haha, everyone will be punished when we return. None of you will be able to escape. Lu Yuan's somewhat serious voice sounded. Yes, Captain. As soon as Lu Yuan's voice fell, everyone immediately responded in unison, their voices loud and clear. All right, I'll leave the rest to Qinsheng. Everything is up to you. I won't interfere anymore, Lu Yuan said faintly. Yes, Captain. Everyone replied in unison. Come, Zhu Qing, sit. On this side, Fu Qinsheng and the rest gathered together to discuss, while Lu Yuan pulled Zhu Qing to sit at one side, flirting leisurely. Lu Yuan, isn't 1 minute too short? Zhu Qing asked softly as she sat beside Lu Yuan. It's not short. With their abilities, it's enough. Lu Yuan smiled slightly and said, Just now, I purposely mentioned Tsanghui Academy's seven-person fusion technique just to provoke them. This is only the first round of the qualifiers, and we're a strong team that the two big bosses think highly of. Tsanghui Academy won't use such an important seven-person fusion technique in the first round. Xinian isn't a fool. If they use it now, won't all the other teams know? The seven-person fusion technique is indeed powerful, but as I said, there are always flaws to be exploited, and once this trump card is gone, how far can the Tsanghui Academy go with their three-legged cat skills? They're not like us. Even if Qiu and the rest's abilities are all exposed, it doesn't matter. As long as the two of us are here, it's enough to beat everything. Why do you think Senior Dugu and the rest are so unscrupulous, and they think highly of us in public? That's because they know our abilities. It's impossible for us to lose. That's why they said that. Otherwise, if they make a mistake, they'll be the ones losing face. Lu Yuan said softly. Oh, so you're saying that just to provoke their fighting spirit? Zhu Qing asked. Yes. Lu Yuan glanced at the people who were discussing and smiled. Don't look at how obedient these guys are in front of me. In fact, they're all arrogant. If I don't provoke them, they'll hide it. I've said before, I want to win the first round cleanly. This is Tianxing Academy's first battle. It's very important and we can't afford to lose. You're so scheming. Even your own people are scheming. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but roll her eyes at Lu Yuan. Ha, how can this be called scheming? This is called reasonable motivation. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Stroking Zhu Zhuqing's long hair, Lu Yuan's gaze turned towards the entrance of the resting area. Separated by nearly 300 meters, Lu Yuan could clearly see the battle taking place in the center area. Tiando Imperial Academy is really weak. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smack his lips as he watched Tiando Imperial Academy's second team being beaten up by Shui Bing Er's Ice Phoenix. What's going on? How's the match going? Zhu Zhuqing looked into the distance, but 300 meters away, she could only see a small black dot. The silhouette was very blurry, and she couldn't see it clearly. What else can they do? Tiando Imperial Academy's second team is being beaten up. I didn't expect this Shui Bing to be so strong. Her Ice Phoenix martial soul is already a top-tier martial soul, and it's only a step away from ultimate ice. If they really fight, if we don't go up, only Chiu can win. Lu Yuan said softly. She's that strong? I think she's only at rank 44. Zhu Zhuqing said. Yes, she's only at rank 44, but her Ice Phoenix martial soul is very strong. Furthermore, phoenixes are the kings of birds, and naturally suppress martial souls like serpents and flood dragons. Furthermore, the ice element has a certain resistance to poison. It's because of this that Duguyen might not be able to defeat her even though her soul power is several ranks higher. This Shui Bing is indeed a genius. I heard that she's only 18 this year. That's really rare. If you didn't have so many fortuitous encounters, you wouldn't even be able to compare to her at her age. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Chapter 529. Hearing Lu Yuan's praise, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but nod. What Lu Yuan said was actually the truth. Her innate soul power wasn't high, only at rank 8. After all, a martial soul like the Netherworld Civet could only barely squeeze into the ranks of top-notch martial souls. In terms of strength, the Martial Soul Palace wasn't even comparable to the Star Luo Imperial family's White Tiger martial soul. Compared to powerful top-notch martial souls like the Ice Phoenix, there was actually a big gap. When she met Lu Yuan at the age of 9, her soul power was only at rank 19. When she was 12 in the original book, her soul power was at rank 27. She was able to reach this point with her innate rank 8 soul power because of her unremitting efforts. Her aptitude was actually the worst among the original Shrek's 7 monsters. If she didn't have the immortal herb, no matter how hard she worked, her soul power would at most be at the same level as Shui Bing when she was 18 years old. The reason why she was able to improve so quickly in this life and reach rank 52 at the age of 14 was mostly due to her meeting Lu Yuan. The Life Spirit Crystal evolved her martial soul and increased her aptitude, from the Netherworld Civet to the superb martial soul 9 Lives Link. The Narcissus Jade Muscles increased her soul power and increased her aptitude again, reaching the soul ancestor level. The 100,000-year Blue-Silver Emperor's right leg bone greatly increased her physical strength. Her Polychoria dispersed the 10,000-year Dark Knight Demon Tiger's soul shock, allowing Zhu Zhuqing to reach the 4th ring of the 10,000-year soul ancestor level. The Spirit Ascension Pill allowed Zhu Zhuqing to enter the Soul King realm at the age of 14 and become one of the top geniuses in the entire continent. Zhu Zhuqing had many fortuitous encounters along the way, and every one of her adventures had something to do with Lu Yuan. Among Lu Yuan's 4 women, he gave Zhu Zhuqing the most things because she was the weakest. Sometimes Lu Yuan would consider her first. She was also the one who accompanied Lu Yuan the longest. Except for special circumstances, Lu Yuan would bring her along wherever he went. During her growth, Lu Yuan played a huge role in helping her. Lu Yuan, it's my greatest fortune to have met you in this life. Zhu Zhuqing leaned on Lu Yuan's shoulder and wrapped her arms around his waist. Her red lips parted slightly as she looked at Lu Yuan with deep affection in her eyes. Although this man was a bit of a playboy, he was extremely responsible and treated her very well. He almost spoiled her in the palm of his hand. Basically, he would grant her every request. Zhu Zhuqing was very satisfied to be able to meet him. Lu Yuan pinched Zhu Zhuqing's nose and said with a chuckle, since you know that I'm good, then you should be obedient in the future. Don't be so jealous, you little vinegar jar. Right now, you're even more jealous than Cher. Okay, I know, Zhu Zhuqing said softly, and her arms around Lu Yuan tightened. Lu Yuan smiled and rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head. His eyes once again looked at the competition in the central region. Tisk, it's over. Skywater Academy is still very powerful. They really won without breaking a sweat. And from the looks of it, they're hiding a lot of things. Lu Yuan clicked his tongue and sighed as he watched Skywater Academy's team leave the stage. It's over so quickly? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing's face was filled with surprise. From the start of the battle until now, only a few minutes had passed. Yes, it's over. If they didn't give face to the Heaven Do Imperial family, it might have ended even faster. If Skywater Academy is so strong, then the other elemental academies shouldn't be too weak. After the Continental Soul Master Tournament ends, maybe we can buy them all. If we buy them, our Skystar Academy will grow a lot. I want to build the strongest Soul Master Academy on the continent. Lu Yuan gently stroked his chin and said. But will they be willing? They're doing well. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to buy them. Zhu Zhuqing said. This requires a certain degree of maneuverability. I already have an idea. You'll know when the time comes. Lu Yuan laughed mischievously. So secretive. You must be up to no good. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing curled her lips and said. Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, Lu Yuan wasn't angry. He gently pinched the little kitten's cheeks with a smile on his face. Oh, they're back. Looking at the entrance, Skywater Academy's team was walking towards the resting area. They're back? When Lu Yuan said this, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly let go of Lu Yuan's arms and sat up straight. Just now, because there was no one around and the other teams were sitting far away from them, she dared to hug Lu Yuan. But now, Skywater Academy's team was obviously coming in their direction. In public, her face was thin and she didn't dare to be too close to Lu Yuan. Especially in front of some outsiders. Holding hands was the limit. Everyone from Skywater Academy rested in the area next to Lu Yuan and the others. They all had smiles on their faces. It was obvious that they were very happy with their victory. Prince Charming, we won. Shui Yuer skipped and came in front of Lu Yuan and the others and said charmingly. And I saw it. You're all very strong. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Wow, Prince Charming, you can see the situation of the Central Division from here? Hearing that Lu Yuan could see the Central Division from here, Shui Yuer couldn't help but be surprised. This place was at least 300 meters away. I can see it. My eyesight is better than the average person. I saw your performance just now. You're very strong. Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. Really? Hearing Lu Yuan's words of praise, Shui Yuer's eyes suddenly narrowed and a pleasantly surprised smile appeared on her face. Really? Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Shui Yuer giggled, showing her youthful playfulness. Her eyes turned slightly and looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who was sitting with Lu Yuan, and then at the other 7 people sitting together. A strange light flashed in her eyes. She seemed to have discovered something strange. Prince Charming, what's the relationship between you and the girl next to you? I feel that you two are very close. Shui Yuer asked. This is my girlfriend, Zhu Zhuqing. Lu Yuan took Zhu Zhuqing's hand and said with a chuckle. Wow, Prince Charming, you already have a girlfriend. Sad, I originally wanted to pursue Prince Charming, but now there's no hope. Shui Yu-er's face showed a lost expression. Her small hand stroked her chest as if she had been hit by a blow. Seeing Shui Yu-er like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. This girl was really interesting. Just as he opened his mouth and was about to speak, the voice of the Master of Ceremonies sounded from outside and directly passed into the rest area. The next match is between Heavenly Star Academy and Sanghui Academy. The match will begin in a quarter of an hour. Both academies, please get ready. Chapter 530. Oh? Is it finally our turn? Hearing the MC's voice, the corners of Lu Yuan's lips curled up slightly as he smiled. Line up! Lu Yuan's indifferent voice rang out. In less than 5 seconds, the 7 people who were originally gathered together quickly formed a neat line. Fu Qinsheng was in first place because he was a spiritual-type soul master and controlled the entire match, so he was in first place. Next was Wang Qiu'er. Wang Qiu'er was the strongest among them. Her golden dragon martial soul was extremely powerful and invincible, so she was in second place. Next was Duguyan, Ning Rongrong, Ling Wei, Jing Ling, and Jiang Zhu. They lined up in an orderly manner. Wow, their movements are so fast! Shui Yu-er's icy blue eyes carried a trace of astonishment when she saw the 7 people quickly and neatly forming a long line. Fu Qinsheng's team's discipline was much better than her Skywater Academy's. It's alright. I've been training them for a few months. If they can't even do this, then wouldn't the training be in vain? Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Prince Charming, you must be very strict with your team members. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Yu-er asked softly. No, I'm very gentle with them. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. When he said this, Fu Qinsheng and the others rolled their eyes at the same time. Like hell I'll believe you. You're such a bad old man. When we were breaking in our tacit understanding, you really criticized us until we were black and blue. Now that I think about it, I'm a little scared. You actually say that you're gentle with us? You're really shameless. Zhu Zhuqing, who was standing at the side, could not help but rub her face. She was impressed by Lu Yuan's ability to lie without batting an eyelid. He was really awesome and did not know what it meant to be embarrassed. What, am I not gentle with you guys? Seeing them roll their eyes, Lu Yuan couldn't help but give them a look. Gentle. Everyone shouted in unison. Pfft. Seeing this scene, Shui Yu-er couldn't help but laugh. Prince Charming, you and your team members are so interesting. She scanned the crowd with her ice-blue eyes, and there was an unconcealable smile in her eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile and said, Miss Yu-er, we're about to enter the arena. If you're interested, you can come and watch our competition. And I will go. Prince Charming, do your best. Shui Yu-er clenched her small fist and said, I will. Lu Yuan smiled and nodded. Then, he turned around slightly, and his expression became calm again. His indifferent voice sounded, Let's go. As he spoke, he took the lead and walked in front. Zhu Zhuqing followed behind him. Fu Qinsheng and the rest also hurriedly followed. Sister, let's go watch our idol's competition. Seeing the figures of Lu Yuan and others walking away, Shui Yu-er bounced to Shui Bing-er's side and said with a chuckle, Yu-er, he already has a girlfriend. You heard it just now. No matter how much you like him, there's no result. Looking at her younger sister, Shui Bing-er somewhat helplessly said, Sister, I know. I have already given up on that aspect. Alas, who let our Prince Charming be so outstanding? He actually already has a girlfriend. I'm still a step late. Now, I just want to see the strength of our Prince Charming's team. After all, their team is favored by the elders of Dragon King Palace and 7 Treasures Colored Glaze sect. Alas, sister, aren't you interested in their strength? You see, Huo Wushuang and his sister from Blazing Fire Academy, Feng Xiaotian from God Wind Academy, Yu Tianxin from Thunder Academy have all gone. Also, other academies have also sent representatives to watch. Sister, let's also go, okay? Shui Yu pulled Shui Bing Er's hand and slightly shook it. Okay then. Shui Bing gently sighed. Her ice blue eyes flashed with a strange light. To be honest, she was also very curious about the strength of Lu Yuan and Heavenly Star Battle Team. In that case, let's go. Hearing this, Shui Yu suddenly smiled. She pulled Shui Bing Er's hand and walked towards the central area. Looking at Shui Yu's happy appearance, Shui Bing couldn't help but sigh slightly. This girl, has she really completely given up that kind of idea in her heart? Gently shaking her head, Shui Bing walked towards the direction of the entrance under the pull of Shui Yu. Under the lead of Lu Yuan, Heavenly Star Battle Team came to the waiting area below the central area. Opposite them was Tsanghui Academy. It was a coincidence that the colors of the two teams were somewhat similar, but the style was different. Tsanghui Academy's uniform was completely silver, and the design was extremely luxurious, while Heavenly Star Academy's white robes were embroidered with silver threads. It was low-key but did not lose its taste. Next, Heavenly Star Academy and Tsanghui Academy, please come on stage and prepare to start the competition. The voice of the MC sounded. Go up, win beautifully. Nodding to Fu Qinxing, Wang Qiu'er and the others, Lu Yuan said softly. Don't worry, Captain, we will. Fu Qinxing nodded and said. Big brother, look at Qiu'er's performance. Wang Qiu'er revealed a playful smile. Then I'll wait to see our little Qiu'er's wonderful performance. Looking at Wang Qiu'er's playful smile, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Then if we win beautifully, will Big Brother give us any rewards? Wang Qiu'er asked. What reward does Qiu'er want? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Qiu'er wants Big Brother to accompany Qiu'er for a day. As for the others, it's up to Big Brother to decide. Wang Qiu'er tapped her chin lightly with her slender fingers and said in a delicate voice. All right, if you can really finish the competition in a minute, I'll accompany little Qiu'er to play for a day. As for the others, the women will each get a face-preserving pill, and the men will each get a longevity pill. How about it? Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hearing this, Fu Qinxing and the others' eyes lit up. The face-preserving pill and the longevity pill were precious pills. Even if they were from the Dragon King Hall, it was very difficult to get them. If they could get one, it would be a huge profit. Especially Du Guyan and Jiang Zhu, the two girls who were already 19 years old. They were now in the prime of their lives. If they could take a face-preserving pill at this time and retain their youth forever, it would be an irresistible temptation. It could be said that when Lu Yuan said this, the seven people's eyes lit up with a raging fire. This competition had to be won beautifully. They had to finish them in a minute. Qiu'er knows that Big Brother is the best. Wang Qiu'er nodded and smiled like a flower. It's time to go up. Fu Qinxing shouted and led the seven people from the Heavenly Star Academy to the competition stage. Opposite them, the people from the Tsanghui Academy also went up. The two sides looked at each other and the atmosphere became heavy. Chapter 531. On the Heavenly Star Academy's side, Wang Qiu'er and Ling Wei stood at the front. One of them had a superb martial soul, the Golden Dragon, while the other had a top-grade martial soul, the Terraclaw Bear. Their attacks were terrifying. This was especially so for Wang Qiu'er. While she looked like a young lady, she was ferocious when she fought. As for how ferocious she was, one could refer to Lu Yuan's battle. Wang Qiu'er was a few times weaker. While Wang Qiu'er was only rank 47, her ultimate power meant that her strength was not inferior to a Soul Emperor's. Her punch was extraordinarily powerful. If she could hit the Tsanghui Academy, she would be able to kill them with one punch. This was not a lie. There were not many Soul Masters of the same rank who could take a punch from a Golden Dragon and not be severely injured. Furthermore, Wang Qiu-er's soul power was far above theirs. After Wang Qiu-er and Ling Wei, it was Qin Xing, the spiritual-type soul master who controlled the entire field. Then it was Ning Rongrong and Jiang Zhu. These two auxiliary-type soul masters were behind Qin Xing. Du Guyan and Jing Ling were at the back, in charge of protecting Ning Rongrong and Jiang Zhu. The Heavenly Star Academy did not have any defense-type soul masters. They were a combination of 2 offensive soul masters, 2 control-type soul masters, and 1 agility-type soul master. This combination was not perfect, but in front of absolute strength, this flaw could be ignored. The Tsanghui Academy's team was also in a formation. Their formation was 1, 2, 1, and 3. Their captain was at the front, and he was also the strongest soul master on their team. Wang Qiu looked at the Tsanghui Academy's soul masters and felt their auras. A look of disdain appeared on her jade-like face. She had the Golden Dragon's perception ability. Even if the other party did not use their martial souls, she could clearly sense the specific strength of those who were below her. Just now, she had sensed the strength of the people on the other side. It turned out that everyone on the other side was weaker than her, and by more than a little. This made her instantly lose any interest in fighting. She only wanted to start immediately and defeat them quickly. This way, she could let her brother play with her for a day. As she thought until here, Wang Qiu-er's lips curled into a smile. She loved being with her brother the most. His gaze shifted to the audience. Lu Yuan found a seat in the waiting area and sat down. He crossed his legs and looked extremely relaxed. Don't you feel heartache for giving away so many medicinal pills all at once? This longevity pill and ageless pill are much more precious than the rising spirit pill. Zhu Zhuqing sat down beside Lu Yuan, her large eyes gently turning as she softly asked, "What's there to feel bad about? It's just a few pills. It's nothing. Moreover, it's given to one of our own. Did my heart ache when I gave you the 100,000-year soul bone?" Looking at Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan sighed softly and said, "Zhuqing, you're still not broad-minded enough. If it were Cher, she wouldn't have asked me such a question. Rewards are one thing, but another is to further buy people's hearts. Rewards and punishments can make them more loyal. Compared to that, a few pills are just a small matter. As long as I have medicinal herbs, I can refine them at any time. The most important thing is people. Kitty, you're not stupid and you're quite good at scheming. However, when it comes to managing people, you're still lacking. You still have a lot to learn." Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing wrinkled her nose slightly and muttered, "I'm naturally not as good as Chihiro Snow. My heart isn't as big as his, and can't contain so many things. I only have you in my heart, and I don't care about anything else. I don't want to learn anything in this area." "You really don't want to learn? I originally wanted you to go to the Soul Tool Hall to train and help manage some things. When you've grown up, I'll hand the Soul Tool Hall over to you. Since you don't mind, then forget it. I'll hand it over to someone else. If it's Na-er, she's not bad." Lu Yuan's eyes turned as he spoke softly. "No, I'll learn." After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly spoke. She didn't expect Lu Yuan to have such high hopes for her. She had always wanted to help Lu Yuan, and this was a very good opportunity. Furthermore, she wanted Lu Yuan to know that she wasn't just a pretty face. She was also very capable. "Why do you want to learn again? Didn't you say that you don't want to learn just now?" Lu Yuan spoke softly. He looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a smile in his eyes. I want to learn again. Can't I?" When she saw the smile in Lu Yuan's eyes, she knew that this fellow was deliberately teasing her. She immediately snorted and spoke. "All right, you'll follow me more in the future. Watch how I do things. You're my woman, and the wife of the Dragon King Palace's hallmaster. The Soul Tool Hall will be handed over to you in the future. You'll have to understand a little in this area." Lu Yuan looked into Zhu Zhuqing's eyes and spoke with a serious tone. Alright, I understand. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded lightly. That's good. Let's watch the competition. It's about to start. Lu Yuan said softly. Alright. Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly. Her gaze turned slightly, and suddenly, her eyes focused. Lu Yuan, look at the Skywater Academy, God Wind Academy, and Thunder Academy. They're all in the spectator area over there. It seems like they're all here to watch our competition. They want to obtain information. Zhu Zhuqing pointed at the spectator area not far away. Lu Yuan glanced indifferently. Indeed, Shui Bing Shui Yuhu and the others were all there. Shui Yu even smiled and waved at him. Lu Yuan smiled and nodded at her. Then, he turned around and said indifferently, It doesn't matter. There's no harm in letting them obtain information. In the face of absolute strength, all schemes and tricks are useless. As long as we're here, we can sweep through everything. And you're right. Zhu Zhuqing deeply agreed with Lu Yuan's words. As long as she and Lu Yuan were here, Heavenly Star Academy couldn't possibly lose. Did the other teams in the Heaven Do division have Soul Kings? None, so they didn't have to worry. Even if Lu Yuan didn't appear, as long as she made a move, she could still hang up the entire Heaven Do division. Strength was the only thing that could support everything. It's starting. Lu Yuan muttered to himself as he looked at the two teams that were already facing each other on the stage. The competition begins. Just as Lu Yuan finished speaking, the voice of the MC in charge of the competition rang out from the stage. As soon as the MC's voice rang out, both teams erupted with a powerful aura. One by one, they possessed their martial souls, and soul rings began to appear one after another. When the Heavenly Star Battle Team finished releasing their soul rings, everyone's eyes widened. They were all astonished. Chapter 532. In the arena, Wang Qiuer's body shone with golden light. Golden scales started to crawl up her cheeks. There was also a dazzling golden scale in the middle of her forehead that flickered with bright light. Her white and tender hands were also covered in scales, and they turned into extremely sharp golden dragon claws. This was the dragon form skill that all high-ranked dragons possessed. A dragon's roar rang out, and a huge golden dragon projection stood silently behind Wang Qiu. Its huge dragon wings flapped slightly, and a strong dragon's aura filled the arena. Yellow, and purple soul rings rose from her feet. 4 beautiful soul rings rippled and shone brightly. Wang Qiu possessed a superb martial soul, the Golden Dragon. She was a rank 47 assault-type soul ancestor. Beside Wang Qiu, Ling Wei's body shone with a brownish-yellow light. This light slowly condensed into a huge brown bear behind Ling Wei. This bear was different from ordinary bear-type martial souls. It had a pair of long and sharp dark golden claws. It was the Terror Claw Bear, a top-ranked beast soul whose offensive strength surpassed that of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. When the Terror Claw Bear appeared, Ling Wei's body grew by more than a foot. His arms and body became much thicker, and his skin became brownish-yellow in color. Ling Wei's hands turned into bear paws, and a pair of long and sharp claws grew out of them. They flickered with a dazzling cold light, and it wasn't hard to imagine how terrifying their offensive strength was. 4 yellow, and purple soul rings rose from Ling Wei's body, and a strong aura was released. Ling Wei's martial soul was the Terror Claw Bear. He was a rank 44 assault-type soul ancestor. Behind Wang Qiu and Ling Wei, a guqin suddenly appeared in Zithershing's hands. This guqin was about 1.2 meters long and 30 centimeters wide. It shone brightly, and there were even phoenix carvings on it. It was exceptionally beautiful. It was different from an ordinary 7-string guqin. This guqin only had 6 strings. It was a variant of the Alcade guqin, the 6-string demonic guqin. The 6-string demonic guqin was a top-ranked tool soul that possessed both spiritual control and offensive strength. Zithershring sat down and caressed the six-string demonic guqin. 4 yellow, and purple soul rings rose from his body. As the guqin sounded, an indescribable spiritual undulation spread. Qin Shing's martial soul was the six-stringed demonic zither, and he was a rank 45 mind-type soul ancestor. After Fu Qinsheng released his martial spirit, Ning Rongrong and Duguyen also released their martial spirit. In Ning Rongrong's right hand, there was an elegant and gorgeous 9-storied pagoda. It was the strongest support-type martial soul after its evolution, the 9 treasures glazed pagoda. If the 7 treasures glazed pagoda was slightly inferior to the 9-hearted begonia, then the 9 treasures glazed pagoda was definitely not inferior to the 9-hearted begonia. It could be considered the strongest auxiliary-type martial soul. At the same time, yellow, purple, and purple soul rings rose from her body. Duguyan's body emitted an emerald green light. After being possessed by her martial soul, her snake tail turned into a flood dragon's tail. 2 emerald green horns appeared on her head, and her body emitted a faint dragon's aura. Layers of green mist diffused from her body, and 4 yellow, and purple soul rings appeared below her. Ning Rongrong, a rank 45 support-type soul ancestor. Duguyen, a rank 47 control-type soul ancestor. At the same time, Jing Ling and Jiang Zhu also released their martial souls, the skeleton and the healing staff respectively. Yellow, and purple soul rings rose from their bodies. They were respectively rank 38 and rank 36. After the martial spirit possession was completed, the Heavenly Star team's astonishing strength was completely displayed. 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders, all of them had the best combination of soul rings. This immediately shocked the audience and many of the contestants. On the other hand, the Tsanghui Academy team was opposite the Heavenly Star Academy team. Except for the captain who was a soul ancestor, the rest were all soul elders, and one of them didn't even have the best combination of soul rings. When the two sides were compared, the huge disparity in strength was immediately highlighted. What's the point of fighting? Looking at the strength displayed by the Heavenly Star Academy team, Feng Xiaotian couldn't help but exclaim. With such a disparity in strength, the Tsanghui Academy would definitely lose. Just the competition of momentum was already one-sided. It was hard to say if the Tsanghui Academy could even withstand a wave of attacks from the Heavenly Star Academy team. The Heavenly Star battle team is so strong. 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders. I'm afraid that this combination has surpassed all of the other battle teams here. Huo Wuxuang couldn't help but say as she watched the scene on the stage. His expression was dignified. Originally, the Heavenly Star Academy already had the unbelievably strong Lu Yuan. In the end, their team members were also so strong. It was really despairing. His sister's arranged battle was probably going to be lost without a doubt. She didn't even have the slightest chance of winning. Huo Wuxuang thought to himself. He looked at Huo Wu. Sure enough, Huo Wu's expression was so dignified that it was about to drip water. Her fists were clenched tightly, and her eyes were filled with unwillingness. Looking at the strength of the Heavenly Star Academy team, she knew that she was going to lose without a doubt. However, her competitive spirit made her heart filled with unwillingness. Ever since she saw Lu Yuan's strength, her heart was filled with admiration. At the same time, she also wanted to fight with Lu Yuan and defeat him. But now, it was very unlikely that she would be able to achieve this goal. How could she be willing in her heart? Yu Tianxin had an even bigger reaction than Huo Wu. He clenched his fists tightly, and his nails pierced his palms. Blood dripped from his hands. His face was filled with madness and malevolence. Lu Yuan, I will definitely defeat you. I definitely will. His eyes were bloodshot. He stared at the stage with resentment, as if he wanted to find a flaw in the Heavenly Star Academy team. Not far away, Shui Bing sighed softly. Her expression was dignified. In the situation where Lu Yuan and his girlfriend didn't go on stage, the Heavenly Star Academy actually had 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders. If Lu Yuan and his girlfriend also went on stage, then wouldn't they have at least a full soul ancestor lineup? After all, if they didn't go on stage, their strength would definitely be more powerful. This thought made Shui Bing-er's heart beat faster. This kind of strength was a bit too strong. No wonder the 7 treasures glazed sect Master Ning and the Dragon King Palace's elder Poison Douluo were so optimistic about the Heavenly Star Academy. It turned out that their strength had reached such a level. It was really a bit frightening. No wonder Lu Yuan looked so relaxed and didn't care who his opponent was. If their Heavenly Water Academy had a full soul ancestor lineup, they would also be like Lu Yuan. No matter who the opponent was, they wouldn't care at all. Sister, Prince Charming's team is so strong. Just as Shui Bing-er was sighing, Shui Yu pulled Shui Bing-er's hand. Her small mouth was slightly open, and there was a trace of unconcealable shock on her pretty face. Chapter 533. They are indeed very strong. So strong that it's a little shocking. Shui Bing-er muttered to herself with a tinge of fear in her voice. I didn't expect Prince Charming's team to have so many soul ancestors. There are already 5 of them. If Prince Charming and his girlfriend are included, wouldn't that be a full lineup of soul ancestors? Shui Yu said with some surprise. Yes, this is the team that the 2 elders thought highly of. They are indeed very strong. Shui Bing-er sighed softly. Elder sister, if we meet Prince Charming's team, wouldn't they be very likely to lose? Shui Yu said. Yes, that's why we need to observe and understand the situation. We need to come up with some countermeasures. I think the other academies have the same idea as us. Shui Bing-er said. Yes. Elder sister, you're right. Shui Yu lightly nodded her head. In the VIP area, the various leaders were also watching the competition below. When they saw the arrangement of soul rings on the Heavenly Star Academy's team, they were all astonished. Sitting in the VIP area, the sallow-faced Snowy Night Emperor squeezed out a smile and said to Ning Fengji and Douluo beside him, Is this the team that the 2 elders thought highly of? Their strength is indeed extraordinary. That's natural. The truly powerful people haven't even gone up yet. Hearing the Snowy Night Emperor's words, Douluo smiled faintly with a trace of pride. This was their Dragon King Hall's team. Ning Fengji also smiled faintly, but didn't reply. Mr. Douluo, if the information I received is correct, the Emperor Dragon who hasn't gone up should be the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall, right? As he said that, the Snowy Night Emperor's gaze was fixed on Douluo. To ordinary people, Lu Yuan's identity as the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall was a top secret. Even the leaders of many powers didn't know that Lu Yuan was the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall. But this definitely didn't include the Heaven Do imperial family. The Snowy Night Emperor had a better understanding of the Dragon King Hall's situation. He also knew that Long Xiaoyao was in the Dragon King Hall. But don't forget who Long Xiaoyao's subordinate was. Yes, Your Majesty. The Emperor Dragon who didn't go on stage is Hall Master Lu Yuan of the Dragon King Palace. Douluo didn't answer. Instead, it was Ning Fengji who revealed the matter with a faint smile. Hearing Ning Fengji's words, the Snow Night Emperor nodded and asked, Mr. Douluo, is it true that 1 pill can increase one's lifespan by 5 years? As soon as he said that, even Ning Fengji and Sakas, who had been quietly waiting at the side, couldn't help but look over. This is naturally true. This seat has already said that this pill was personally refined by my Hall Master. My Hall Master is an alchemy master and can refine a lot of medicinal pills. Sect Master Ning should be the most clear about this point. Even Sect Master Ning's beloved daughter has enjoyed this spirit ascension pill. Douluo spoke with a light tone. Is that true? Sect Master Ning? Snowy Knight Heavenly Emperor looked at Ning Fengji. Replying to your majesty, it is indeed true. The Spirit Ascension Pill, refined by Hall Master Lu, is extremely effective. It can increase one's soul power rank. After my daughter took 5 pills, she continuously increased 3 ranks in the Soul Ancestor realm. Ning Fengji said. Then, does that mean that each Spirit Ascension Pill can really increase one's lifespan by 5 years? Hearing Ning Fengji's words, the Snowy Knight Emperor's voice was filled with excitement. His body wasn't good to begin with, and he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold on for more than a few years. This Spirit Ascension Pill was really a life-saving medicine for him. Mr. Douluo, when will the Spirit Ascension Pill be sold? This Emperor would also like to buy some. Just as the Snowy Knight Emperor finished speaking, Ning Fengji's voice rang out, "If the Spirit Ascension Pill is to be sold, please be sure to reserve a few for my 7 Treasures Glazed sect." Ning Fengji also needed the Spirit Ascension Pill because the Bone Douluo and Sword Douluo were already very old. At most, they could only live for another 20 to 30 years. If the 7 Treasures Glazed sect didn't have a new titled Douluo to replace them after 20 to 30 years, then they would be going downhill. But if they could obtain the Spirit Ascension Pill, then it would be different. At the very least, it would allow Uncle Jian and Uncle Gu to live for another 10 to 20 years. This could be said to be of great significance to the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. Haha, Your Majesty and Sect Master Ning, don't worry. This seat will naturally convey your requests to the Hall Master. It's just that the ingredients used for the Spirit Ascension Pill are very particular, and it is also very difficult to refine. So, this seat can't guarantee how much can be given to the 2 of you. Douluo said. Of course, everything will of course depend on Hall Master Lu's wishes. I wonder if Hall Master Lu has the time recently? This Emperor would also like to meet such a young elite. The Snowy Knight Emperor chuckled. Hearing this, Douluo, Ning Fengji, and Sakaz raised their eyebrows at the same time. The 3 of them were all old and experienced people. The moment the Snowy Knight Emperor said this, they knew what he wanted to do. With regards to this, the 3 of them had different thoughts. Is the Emperor trying to rope in the Dragon King Hall? Ning Fengji's eyes were deep as thoughts ran through his mind. Right now, the Snowy Knight Emperor was unwell. Even many healing-type soul masters could barely maintain his health. From the looks of it, he didn't have many years left to live. While the Crown Prince, Xue Qinghe, was capable, he was still young after all. Whether he could subdue his subjects and lead the entire Heaven Do Empire was still unknown. Even if he could control the Heaven Do Empire, it was still uncertain whether he could deal with the Martial Soul Palace and the Xianra Empire in the future. At this time, if he could rope in the Dragon King Hall, with Lu Yuan's miraculous pill refining skills, the Snowy Knight Emperor might be able to extend his lifespan. He could also obtain the support of the Dragon King Hall, which had the abilities of several titled Douluo. This way, the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family would be more secure. Don't forget why the Heaven Do Empire was able to maintain its current status even though its military strength was so much weaker than the Xianra Empire. Firstly, it was because the Martial Soul Palace intervened to suppress the conflict between the 2 empires. Secondly, it was because the Heaven Do Empire had 7 Great Soul Master sections. More accurately speaking, the original 3 Great Soul Master sects were all in the Heaven Do Empire. Among them, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect had always supported the imperial family. It was also because of this that the Heaven Do Empire could barely contend with the Xianra Empire. Looking at the Snowy Knight Emperor's current behavior, it was obvious that he wanted to rope in the Dragon King Hall like he did with the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. But was it so easy to rope in Lu Yuan? As he thought about it, Ning Fengji couldn't help but shake his head. Douluo glanced at the Snowy Knight Emperor and muttered to himself. He didn't have any prejudice against the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family. Before Lu Yuan came, His relationship with the Heaven-Do Empire's imperial family was quite good. He even helped Xue Xing attack Lu Yuan, but was beaten up by Long Xiaoyao. Now that he had joined the Dragon King Hall and was loyal to Lu Yuan, he didn't reject the idea of the Dragon King Hall cooperating with the Heaven-Do Empire's imperial family. In fact, he even agreed. Chapter 534. Sokka's inadvertently glanced at the Snowy Night Emperor with a hint of mockery in his eyes. Do you think you're smart enough to rope in the Martial Spirit Palace? If the Dragon King Hall belonged to someone else, Sokka's would definitely be furious at the sight of it allying with the imperial family of the Heaven-Do Empire. However, the Dragon King Hall was the one he wanted to rope in. Sokka's wanted to laugh in his heart. Lu Yuan was the holy son of the Martial Soul Palace and the future Supreme Pontiff. How could he rope him in? Sokka's couldn't help but praise Lu Yuan in his heart as he scolded the Snowy Night Emperor. As expected of the Holy Son, his methods were extraordinary. Perhaps he had already anticipated that the imperial family of the Heaven-Do Empire would try to rope him in when he established the Dragon King Hall. When the time came, he would take advantage of the opportunity to enter the center of power of the Heaven-Do Empire. Then, he would collaborate with young Mistress Share. It would be a piece of cake for him to overthrow the entire Heaven-Do Empire. Sokka's couldn't help but smile as he thought about this. He stroked his beard gently as he thought about the longevity pill. Since this item was refined by His Highness, then if Salus did his job well, he might be rewarded by His Highness. Salus had heard that His Highness was never stingy with rewards for his subordinates, so perhaps he would have the opportunity to do so. When he thought about how he would be able to sit comfortably in the position of Platinum Bishop for another 10 or 20 years after taking the longevity pill, he decided to wholeheartedly pledge his loyalty to His Highness the Holy Sun and become his most loyal bootlicker. This was the truest thought in Sokka's mind. Douluo smiled in response to the Snowy Night Emperor's question. Since you want to meet with the Palace Master, I'm sure the Palace Master would be honored. However, the Dragon King Hall is currently in the midst of the competition. I can't say for sure when the Palace Master will be free. That's fine. It won't be too late for us to meet when Palace Master Lu is free. If Palace Master Lu is free, you can ask Sect Master Ning to pass the message to me. I'll be free at any time. The Snowy Night Emperor chuckled. All right, it's settled then. Douluo nodded in agreement. After receiving Douluo's reply, the Snowy Night Emperor was elated. He turned to Salus and asked, Bishop Salus, why aren't you saying anything? You don't look well. Could it be that you're not feeling well? If you are not in good health, I have a few good healers here. If not, Lord Lu of the Dragon King Palace has superb alchemy skills. If he can help you, maybe he can help you recuperate. Of the Snowy Night Emperor felt that the Palace of Dragon King, of the Snowy Night Emperor, was the Snowoff Knight of Emperor was of Dragon of Emperor. Of the Emperor of Emperor of the Emperor of Emperor of the Emperors. But to be sure, he wanted to use Sokka's to make the relationship between the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace strained. This was also the reason why he mentioned Lu Yuan on purpose. He wanted to create the impression that the Dragon King Palace and the Heaven-Do Empire were on the same side. At the same time, he wanted Sokka's to dislike the Dragon King Palace. He might not be able to recruit the Dragon King Palace, but he didn't want to see the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace together. He was just taking precautions. To be fair, the Snowy Night Emperor had lived for so long and was also an emperor. He had some tricks up his sleeves. Sokka's naturally understood the Snowy Night Emperor's intentions. He laughed in his heart and put on a straight face. Emperor, you should take care of your body first. He turned his head away with an angry look on his face. That old man, Sokka's, also had some good acting skills. They are all actors. Let's see who is better. As for Douluo and Ningfengji, They sat quietly by the side without saying a word. As for what they were thinking, only they themselves knew. On the stage, everyone from the Tsanghui Academy couldn't help but swallow their saliva when they saw the Heavenly Star Battle Team's best combination of soul rings. For a moment, they were trembling. Just as Lu Yuan expected, the Tsanghui Academy didn't plan to use their 7-person fusion technique in the first round. So, they left 2 important soul masters below. The first round was against the Heavenly Star Battle Team that the 2 big shots thought highly of. They didn't plan to win at all and chose to hide their trump cards. But what he did not expect was that the strength of the Heavenly Star Academy's team was actually this strong. Standing in front of them, he could feel the pervasive, imposing manner, as if he was facing a group of ferocious beasts. The oppressive force was really too terrifying. On the other side, the Heavenly Star Battle Team was different. Their eyes were filled with disdain. Looking at the soul ring combination of the Tsanghui Academy team, a soul ancestor and 6 soul elders, Fu Qinxing didn't put them in their eyes at all. "Begin," Fu Qinxing ordered. With a light flick of his finger, invisible sound waves turned into layers of sound waves and spread out. Hearing this, Wang Qiu'er and Ling Wei rushed out at the first moment. Their bodies were like lightning as they pounced towards the Tsanghui Academy team. The first of the 9 treasures is strength. The second of the 9 treasures is speed. Ning Rongrong recited the incantation, and 2 streaks of flowing light engulfed Wang Qiu'er and Ling Wei. Every time the 9 treasures glazed pagoda had an additional soul ring, the amplification of all skills would increase by 10%. Originally, when Ning Rongrong was a soul grandmaster, her first 2 skills could only increase her soul power and speed by 30% each. But now that she was at rank 40, the amplification had increased to 50%. This was definitely a terrifying number. With Ning Rongrong's amplification, Wang Qiu'er's rank 47 soul power surged again, nearing the Soul King rank. Ling Wei's aura also increased greatly. A pair of sharp claws shone with cold light. He raised his right hand and slapped down on a Tsanghui Academy student. "Jiang Zhu, use your healing skill." Fu Qinxing's voice sounded. "Yes." Jiang Zhu nodded and her first yellow soul ring lit up. Her first soul skill, Healing Halo, was released. A white healing halo filled the entire arena. This healing halo wasn't for her own people, but for the Tsanghui Academy team. As for why, just look at the battle situation and you'll know. Second soul skill, Dragon's Strength. Wang Qiu'er punched out and directly broke the defense of a Tsanghui Academy team member, sending him flying with a punch. Even the 2 people standing behind him were sent flying to one side. Second soul skill, Raging Bear Claw. Ling Wei slapped down with his claws and slammed a Tsanghui Academy team member who couldn't escape in time to the ground. The sharp bear claws left a deep wound on his body and blood immediately flowed out. Chapter 535. These 2 fellows are too violent. Is there a need for me to make a move? Duguyan's mouth twitched as she watched Wang Qiu'er and Ling Wei, who had been strengthened by the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, beat up the 7 opponents. "I don't think there's a need." Jing Ling suppressed his desire to make a move. Originally, he wanted to make a move, but after seeing their violent attacks, he felt that it was better for him to stay here. "It seems like Tsanghui Academy is a little useless," Ning Rongrong said softly as she used her soul skills to support Wang Qiu'er and Ling Wei. "It's not just a little useless, it's quite useless." Duguyan's voice rang out. "All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Jingling, you should go up too. I have to prepare for the final attack. As for Duguyan, just watch. Your skills are poisonous. Now that we're sure to win, there's no need for you to make a move," Fu Qinxing said. Hearing this, Duguyan nodded slightly. "Then I'll go," Jingling said. "Okay, go." Fu Qinxing nodded slightly. Jing Ling's body flashed and turned into an afterimage as he pounced in the direction of Tsanghui Academy. Seeing this, Ning Rongrong pointed with her finger and a flowing light wrapped around Jing Ling instantly. Jing Ling's speed increased greatly. After a year of hard work, Ning Rongrong had cultivated the 7 treasures glazed sex distraction control technique to the 4 apertures constant heart. She could use different amplification skills on 4 people at the same time. Wang Qiu and Ling Wei were both assault-type soul masters, so both of them had amplification skills on them. Jing Ling was an agility-type soul master, so he only had amplification skills on him. As for why he didn't use the last 2 soul skills, it was because there was no need to deal with Tsanghui Academy. As soon as Jing Ling went up, he entangled a member of Tsanghui Academy and suppressed him. Ling Wei surrounded the 3 soul exalts and beat them up 1 against 3. Wang Qiu even suppressed Tsanghui Academy's team leader, the only soul ancestor, and the other 2 soul elders. She punched them from time to time, causing them to spit out blood and fly backward. However, Wang Qiu still held back. At least no one was seriously injured. However, if they were to continue fighting like this, even though they would win sooner or later, they might not have enough time. 1 minute. Fu Qinsheng sighed softly, and the second 100-year soul ring suddenly lit up. It was the second soul skill of the 6-stringed demonic zither, spiritual sluggish. This skill wasn't used against the physical body, but against a person's soul. It could slow down a person's mental reaction speed, and once a person's mental reaction speed slowed down, their own speed would naturally slow down as well. Under the control of Zither Shing, these zither sounds with rich spiritual fluctuations filled the entire arena. Affected by the sound of the zither, the people from Tsanghui Academy suddenly slowed down. Because the Guqin music was controlled by Qinsheng's spiritual power, these Guqin music ignored Wang Qiu and the others, and didn't enter their minds. As an outstanding spiritual-type soul master, Fu Qinsheng was still able to do this. From the very beginning, his spiritual power had already permeated the entire arena. Mental-type control skills tested one's control the most, because it was easy to accidentally injure one's own people. If the skill couldn't distinguish between friend and foe, then what was the use of it? After Fu Qinsheng's special control, only the people from Tsanghui Academy were affected. Ling Wei and the others weren't affected at all. Seeing that the people from Tsanghui Academy were affected, Wang Qiu and the others took advantage of this opportunity. Third soul skill, Golden Dragon Head. Wang Qiu shouted, and her small fist punched out. A golden dragon head about a foot long appeared above her fist, and the dragon head flew out, blasting the 3 people from Tsanghui Academy, including the team leader, off the stage. The 3 of them were hit by Wang Qiu's fist, and they spat out blood as they flew back. When they landed on the ground, they immediately fainted. On the other side, Ling Wei shouted, First soul skill, Terror Claws Addiction. The dark golden claws blasted the other 3 soul elders from Tsanghui Academy, who were slowed down, off the stage as well. Just as Ling Wei finished his move, Jing Ling also kicked her opponent out of the field. The battle ended here. The few of them didn't hit hard, but they didn't show mercy either. According to Lu Yuan, the people from Tsanghui Academy weren't good people. Furthermore, there was a 1-minute time limit, and the few of them were rushing for time. Naturally, their attacks were more powerful. Although the people from Tsanghui Academy weren't in mortal danger, they were all seriously injured. At the very least, they wouldn't be able to compete in the next few matches. Seeing this scene, their teacher, Shernyan, had a dark expression on his face. He looked in the direction of Lu Yuan and the others, and there was a dark resentment in his eyes. Ah, Shernyan. Lu Yuan's senses were very sharp, and Shernyan's gaze immediately caught his attention. I hope you don't want to die. Lu Yuan sighed softly, and a light flashed across his eyes. The battle has ended. The Heavenly Star Academy is victorious. Let us congratulate them. The moment the battle ended, the MC's voice rang out. Brother, brother, how long did we take? No one paid attention to the MC's announcement of victory. Instead, they all looked at Lu Yuan, and Wang Qiu'er directly asked. Looking at the 7 people's expectant faces, especially Wang Qiu'er's sparkling eyes, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, Congratulations, you only took 59 seconds. Phew. Hearing this, the 7 people exhaled at the same time. 59 seconds? Luckily, we were 1 second away from a full minute. If we exceeded a minute, we would have been punished. Ning Rongrong patted her small chest and said softly with a look of relief. However, although Ning Rongrong's voice was soft, many of the spectators and the people in the VIP area were basically soul masters. Although Ning Rongrong's voice wasn't loud, they still heard it. Immediately, the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. A strange look flashed across their eyes as they looked at Lu Yuan. This guy was a little too arrogant. He actually wanted to finish off the opponent in a minute. Furthermore, if the team members exceeded the time limit, they would be punished. What kind of madness was this? However, although he was arrogant, the Heavenly Star Academy really did have the ability to end the battle in a minute. When they thought of this, they couldn't help but sigh. The Heavenly Star Academy's battle strength was still strong. The angriest person was naturally Serene Yen. His face was originally gloomy, but now it was as black as the bottom of a pot. Motherf *Ker, they had set a rule that the battle could not exceed 1 minute before the battle even started. How much did they look down on their Tsanghui Academy? Looking at his own students who were either injured or unconscious, Serene Yen's eyes could not help but emit a fierce glint. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.